Chapter 2661, Explosive Dragon. Chapter 2661, Explosive Dragon. 10,000 dragons, hidden heavens. Tens of thousands of dragons might immediately condensed into a green dragon ghosting, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. A black mass surrounded Long Fei as the Azure Dragon gave its command. 10,000 dragons fell. Long Fei's eyes darkened. This is bad. He was simply unable to withstand the dragon's might. The levels were completely different. In the face of such an enormous dragon's might, Long Fei couldn't think of anything he could do. It couldn't be stopped. Am I going to die? Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. He gritted his teeth and stared at the dark sky. Am I going to die? Rumble, rumble, rumble. As the 10,000 dragons smashed down, Long Fei's body felt like it was about to explode when he withstood the first force. Every single pore on his body bled profusely. His internal organs were all churning. His sea of consciousness had ruptured. His entire head felt heavy. The health point above his head was going wild, unable to block it at all. Boom, boom, boom. Ha ha, ha ha. The Azure Dragon laughed wildly. I said it before, you will die by my hands. I swore to the heavens that I will definitely kill you. Now you're finally going to die. Ha ha ha, ha ha. He felt as though he had been injected with chicken blood. Hearing such excitement and mocking laughter, under the dragon tattoo on Long Fei's right arm, a power suddenly moved. At this moment, this power was immediately released from Long Fei's body. At this moment, everything in Long Fei's body calmed down. However, Long Fei was completely unable to feel it, and it seemed as if his body was slowly losing consciousness. That feeling, when Long Fei was in secret area of deep hell, he was killed by the underworld snake, and the anger in his heart occupied his mind. It appeared again. Long Fei forced himself to stay clear-headed. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't. In the end, with his consciousness blurry, he could only feel an incomparably strong power erupting from his right arm. That kind of power was something he had never experienced before. At this moment, the dragon-shaped tattoo moved and rushed into the sky. Roar! The dragon's roar dominated the sky. In an instant, the 10,000 Azure Dragon auras instantly began to crumble, and the entire world of darkness fell silent. Roar! Another dragon roar rang out. The green dragon's face darkened, revealing a painful expression. Its enormous body suddenly exploded, smashing its dragon-shaped, tattooed figure into the air. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of space exploding rang out, and it was also constantly exploding. With a flash of golden light, cracks started to wreak havoc as if they were lightning, and the cracks started to heal in an instant. This world of darkness is a special secret world. Roar, roar, rumble, rumble. This scene did not last long. In the end, the Azure Dragon's body fell from the sky, and blood crazily gushed out from between his eyebrows. It let out a painful dragon's roar. The Azure Dragon roared in indignation. It was also at this time. The dragon-shaped tattoo shadow also charged back into the mark on Long Fei's right arm like lightning. It was extremely weak, and the protective energy around Long Fei's body instantly disappeared as well. Long Fei was also incredibly weak. There was only a tiny bit of HP left on top of his head. A few hundred HP left, and he would be dead in less than half a minute. Faster. Faster. The Azure Dragon's dragon aura has already been suppressed. Now move. A voice sounded from Long Fei's mind. Who are you? Long Fei could not help but ask. There was no response in his mind. The spring of life surged, quickly replenishing Long Fei's health. The one who spoke was him, but he did not have any time to speak at all. If he was any slower, Long Fei would have died. Just now, the pressure from the Azure Dragon's might was still in his body. If he did not protect Long Fei, he would die. No response. Was it that powerful force? At this moment, in that moment of life and death, Long Fei did not have time to think about it. He spat out a mouthful of blood, which directly landed on the sky sword. With a move of his right hand, blood flowed down from his entire right arm onto the sword. Then, Long Fei moved and instantly landed in front of the incomparably enormous green dragon and said solemnly, "Without the dragon's might, I want to see how you're going to suppress this daddy." The sword moved and stabbed down heavily. Ah! The green dragon let out a furious roar. Rumble! A long, bright red health bar floated above his head. The azure dragon let out a blood-curdling screech. Both of his eyes stared heavily, staring straight at Long Fei. Flames spitting out his eyes, he said, "Humph. So what if you pull out my power from the dragon? What can you do? I'll swallow you. I'll refine everything in your body. When the time comes, I can refine your blood essence just the same, and I can open the coffin." It opened its huge dragon mouth. Whoosh! The moment the suction force moved, before Long Fei could react, the green dragon power directly sucked Long Fei into its body. He was too strong. However, Long Fei was actually overjoyed in his heart. "You're courting death." The idea moved. "You want my blood essence, right? Here you go." With a thought, the sky's sword cut his right palm. Long Fei controlled the idea on his palm and released his purest blood essence, causing the sky sword to move. Sprinkled on the blade. Grasping the hilt of the sword with both hands, he thrust it towards the green dragon's throat. Come on! It pierced the green dragon's flesh heavily. At this moment, the huge suction force in the azure dragon's body was still circulating. With the help of this powerful sword, the azure dragon blood essence burst out like a waterfall. At this moment, Long Fei's own blood fused with the blood essence the green dragon had spat out. Rumble! Rumble! Long Fei was like a huge pool of blood. The azure dragon blood essence was incomparably hot. It landed on Long Fei's body and crazily refined it. Adding on the blood essence he had released, Long Fei's skin started to hurt. His hands, feet, and even his crotch, they were the same. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for absorbing green dragon blood essence. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for absorbing green dragon blood. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for absorbing green dragon blood. When a madness of the system beep resounded, Long Fei also threw caution to the wind and opened his mouth to crazily drink blood. At the beginning, his body was only boiling hot, but after he drank the azure dragon blood essence, his organs, his mind, and his sea of consciousness began to churn, turning hot. It was incredibly hot. All the clothes on his body instantly turned into ashes. Long Fei became completely naked. His entire body was drenched in blood. The blood-red scales of the dragon glowed with a red light. The sky sword's tightly clenched fists crazily slashed down. Explode for me. Explode for me. Chapter 2662, System Beep. Chapter 2662, System Beep. Dragon blood poured into his body. His blood essence transformed into attraction. His body began to rise as all his strength was restored. At this moment, Long Fei's pupils turned from black to gold. They were not the golden pupils of the Western world, but rather the enormous pupils of the divine dragon. Just one look was enough to make one feel as if there were thousands of strands of power in it. However, Long Fei, did not care about these things. Explode. No matter what background this green dragon had, and no matter what enmity it had with himself, what he needed to do now was to kill him. Let's kill ourselves first. The sky sword slashed down heavily, starting from the throat. The green dragon roared, screamed in pain, and struggled madly. The entire dark world was stirred up, forming a huge black vortex. Rumble, rumble. I won't let you off. I won't let you off. Boom! A golden light suddenly shot out from the head of the enormous green dragon. Dragon soul. Azure dragon's dragon soul. In the midst of the swirling black vortex, the dragon's soul floated in the air and landed in the deepest part of the black vortex. The voice of the green dragon resounded in the air. I will wait for you in the ancient world. The next time I see you, I will definitely kill you. I'm the first dragon. Boom! The dragon's soul sank into the darkness. At this moment, Long Fei's sky sword cut opened the green dragon's body. Long Fei landed heavily, his entire body boiling with dragon blood. If this was an ordinary physique, even Emperor Zhenwu Powerhouse would not be able to withstand the dragon blood. Azure Dragon shattering the body. When Long Fei landed, the blood essences on the Azure Dragon's body fell like a waterfall, all of them pouring down onto Long Fei's body. Walala. The Azure Dragon's body was like a huge gash in the sky. The waters of the Milky Way poured into the opening. Long Fei stood there, unmoving. As the blood essence struck his body, his entire body was covered in blood-red dragon scales. These rings were truly marvelous. Moreover, his body also felt extraordinary. It was an indescribable feeling. The system beep was still crazily continuing. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for absorbing green dragon blood. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for absorbing green dragon blood. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for absorbing green dragon blood. He kept prompting, as if all the blood essence that was flowing out of the Azure Dragon's body had been absorbed by Long Fei. The Azure Dragon's body was even bigger than the heaven and earth, and such a large amount of blood essence was completely absorbed by the human body. Moreover, Long Fei's body was frantically transforming. Dragon blood, this caused him to feel incomparably excited. It was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Strength. What a powerful strength. The power in this blood essence. Too powerful. Long Fei looked at his own arms, looked at his own chest, and looked at his own naked body. Every place was densely packed with tiny dragon scales. It became a faint flash on the skin. Dragon blood stimulation. Did it stimulate the power in my body? Is the hidden power in my blood essence also the power of the dragon? Dragon blood. Dragon blood battle god? Damn, I've read this novel before. Long Fei muttered. The Azure Dragon blood essence made him extremely excited, and the originally heavily injured energy in his right arm also began to rapidly recover as the Azure Dragon blood essence was absorbed. However, it is recovering very slowly. Walala, walala, walala. After a full half an hour, the enormous body of the dragon drained all of its blood essence. Only then did the body of the dragon fall from the sky. Rumble, rumble. Long Fei's eyes tensed up, seeing such a huge green dragon body. A thought formed in his mind, and with a move of his right hand, he grabbed towards the huge green dragon body. His left hand formed a seal. An enormous power surged out from his body, enveloping the entire body of the green dragon. He heavily shouted, "Withdraw!" The power of the attack enveloped the entire Azure Dragon and the space ring. It was also at this time that a walala. Bam! The space ring exploded. It couldn't contain the body of the Azure Dragon at all. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. The Azure Dragon's body cannot be wasted. Blood essence is the most important part of the Azure Dragon's body, but aside from this, there were too many treasures in the Azure Dragon's body. The dragon was a treasure trove. He couldn't waste it. Long Fei took out another space ring. Bam! The space ring exploded again. Bam! Another space ring exploded. F*CK. No way. Even if ordinary space ring had enough space, they wouldn't be able to withstand the aura of a dragon. Long Fei's mind tightened, and just when he was helpless, he said, "That's right. There's still over 70 special space ring S in the system space. Is it okay to use them?" Immediately, with a move of Long Fei's power, he took out a God's Tribe space ring. The idea moved again and shouted, "Collect it for me!" Rumble, rumble, rumble. As the enormous green dragon body slowly entered a golden space ring, Long Fei's eyes revealed signs of excitement. This Azure Dragon's power can be sold at an astronomical price, even if it's just dragon scales. In the future, if you have no money, take out a dragon scale and sell it. Haha. The identity of this green dragon was extraordinary. If one of his dragon scales could be refined into a profound weapon, then any one of them would be an existence that surpassed holy artifact. Moreover, dragon scales could also be used to seep in alchemy S. increase in cultivation level. Dragon Tendon, Dragon Valley, Dragon Feeler. Any part of it was like a super treasure. Long Fei would never let this go easily. Buzz! The green dragon was completely absorbed into the space ring. And at this moment, Long Fei was also heavily gasping for breath, his entire body drenched in sweat. I finally put it away. Don't worry about the lack of money in the future. Ha! The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly as he became proud of himself. At this moment, suddenly, a black box from the space ring started to tremble violently. At the same time, the originally dead Azure Dragon suddenly opened its eyes, revealing a ray of green light. Boom! The black box directly flew into the Azure Dragon's huge mouth. The wound on the Azure Dragon's stomach began to slowly heal. The originally transparent Azure Dragon seemed to come to life as its body slowly entrenched itself. His eyes were closed. There was no expression on his face. His body did not emit any of the aura of a dragon. At this moment, Long Fei clapped his hands. The blood essence all over his body shook slightly, and said with a grin, "There should be system beep here. Ding!" Chapter 2663, Berserk. Chapter 2663, Berserk. It didn't matter if the Azure Dragon was revived or not. It didn't matter if its dragon's soul had escaped, but one thing is certain. The Azure Dragon's body was killed by Long Fei. 100 billion HP was killed by Long Fei. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Azure Dragon for obtaining 9999, 999, 9999 experience points, 99, 99999 true chi points, and 100 arrogant god energy value points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Green Dragon's Might. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Green Dragon Flame. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining... The system beep violently sounded. Ding! Congratulations player Long Fei for killing Azure Dragon. You have received a special reward. You are now rewarded with Supreme Dragon Knife. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Azure Dragon. Ha! Long Fei was so excited that he could not control himself. Supreme Dragon Knife? Ha! Awesome, but why do I feel like I've seen this knife somewhere? Inside the Heaven Slaughtering Dragons note? That's not right. In a certain game? That's not it either. Long Fei thought about it again. He did not recall where he had seen this blade before, but he was sure of one thing, that even if he had seen Dragon Blade before, they would still not be as powerful as he was now. Weapon, Supreme Dragon Knife Grade, Ultimate Spirit War Device Attributes, Destroy Description, has 1000% critical chance attribute for dragons. Able to crush dragons with their might. Description 2. Introducing the dragon blood allows the blade to generate even more power. Damn! Awesome! Long Fei didn't think about when he saw the dragon blade before. Rather than thinking about it before, it was better to grasp the present and the future. Memories of the past were very important, but no matter how important the memories were, they were only memories. Dragon Blood Battle God. This title is awesome. On top of Long Fei's head, there was a blood red symbol. The Dragon Bloodline God of War didn't seem to be of much use, but once the dragon blood was released, this title would be able to erupt with power. Fusion of the Azure Dragon's Might. Ding! Fusion complete. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for merging with the might of the Azure Dragon and obtaining the Myriad Dragon Burial Sky Pressure skill. Fusion of the Azure Dragon Flame. Ding! Fusion completed. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully fusing with the Azure Dragon Flame and obtaining the Azure Dragon Flame. Long Fei had fused everything that he could. After obtaining several secret skills related to the Azure Dragon, these techniques were exceptionally powerful. Because there were still 2 Gods Tribe S remaining in the Xianyu secret territory. Long Fei was doing his best to become stronger. After fusing all of this, Long Fei let out a light breath as he looked at the dragon blood on his body congealing like a blood armor. Terrible. The blood-colored dragon scales on the surface of his skin disappeared as well. Long Fei clenched both his fists and then moved them. Wong, in his right arm. A surge of power instantly spread throughout his body, and immediately after, Long Fei's entire body turned blood red. It was extremely shocking. Long Fei was shocked himself. Damn, could it be that I just merged with an Azure Dragon blood vein? Azure Dragon. In my memory, there's a green dragon ancestor, and this green dragon. Long Fei was sure that this green dragon was not the green dragon ancestor in his memories. But what was the identity of this green dragon? Long Fei did not know either. In his memories, there had never been a green dragon like this before. The green dragon ancestor in his memory could not even compare to this green dragon. And this green dragon had said before that he had waited here for Long Fei for millions of years. What was he waiting for? Right? Coffin. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, thinking about the huge sarcophagus. It hovered not far away. The chain slipped. She stood there as though she was all alone, quietly looking at Long Fei. Long Fei carefully approached. The runes on the surface of a huge coffin were incomparably dazzling. Ooh! Long Fei let out a heavy breath. What exactly is inside? Even if Long Fei fused with the green dragon's blood essence now, became stronger, and his strength increased, he still did not dare to recklessly open the coffin, because he felt that this coffin was definitely not ordinary. How could something that could make the Azure Dragon wait here for billions of years be simple? He was waiting for Long Fei. The reason they were waiting for Long Fei was to open the coffin. In other words, millions of years of waiting to open the coffin. Then what was inside the coffin? Long Fei really wanted to know, but, however, he did not dare to easily open it. At least, this coffin gave him a feeling of extreme danger, even more so than the huge green dragon. And then, Long Fei moved slightly, took out another God's Tribe space ring, and said, "Collect." Buzz! The coffin was sucked into the space ring. Crack! The moment the coffin was sucked into the space ring, a crack appeared on the space ring's body. It was unbearable, but after the crack, there was no other sound. Long Fei's mind also relaxed, and he thought to himself, if the green dragon can fit inside, then this coffin will cause the space ring to crack in the blink of an eye. What the hell is inside? However, in the instant that the coffin entered the space ring, the thing inside the space ring was instantly devoured by the coffin. In another place, God's Tribe Palace, in an immortal estate, an old man suddenly woke up from his cultivation, his eyes tensed up, revealing an astonished expression. My space ring. Why is there a sudden boom? He disappeared 100 years ago. Why did he suddenly appear and disappear all of a sudden? Why is that? There are quite a few things inside my space ring. There's already a primordial dragon soul of the dragon race. I haven't even refined it yet. What happened? Could it be that the brat that was suppressed by the Emperor Xian 100 years ago still hasn't died? Impossible. Within another immortal estate. It was the same. Just like the previous presbyter of God's tribe, his space ring had also flashed for a moment, but it disappeared in an instant. It was as if he had completely changed hands. It was very strange. However, the two of them did not report it to the Emperor Xian. What happened 100 years ago was the shame of their God's tribe, and it had almost caused a lowly kid to kill all 10 stages of guillotine. The God's tribe was in chaos. If it wasn't for Emperor Xian, he really would have been overturned by that brat. And that's why they had received punishment. They were not allowed to leave their immortal estates even half a step within 100 years. 100 years had passed. Right now, they were completely different from 100 years ago. The management of the Emperor Xian had changed as well. He began to slowly release the power of ancient inheritance that he could cultivate and control. Of course, all of his power was still controlled by the Emperor Xian, and it was the king of primordial chaos, the most powerhouse. Chapter 2664, Plane Rupture. Chapter 2664, Plane Rupture Buzz. The dark world suddenly changed. Boss! Seeing Long Fei, the Transformers immediately rushed over. The big-sized man also saw Long Fei, boss. Eorong and Eleusian also quickly flew over when they saw Long Fei. Long Fei was overjoyed. "Is everything all right?" Transformer said. "It's nothing. When I entered, it was completely dark. I couldn't find anything. There was nothing at all. I continuously flew inside. When I wanted to go out and report it to you, I couldn't find the exit." Transformer scratched his head as he spoke. The big guy also said innocently, "I'm the same." Eleusian said, "This should be a special secret world, where everyone who enters will enter into a world of darkness. But the truth is that everyone is in a different space of secret world. Maybe it was just to wait for someone." While they were talking, Eleusian looked at Long Fei. Eorong asked directly, "Did you see anything when you came in? How can you be like this? Do you see Lord Ming Long's coffin?" Long Fei looked at his own body and subconsciously blocked with both of his hands. Damn, he was secretly glad that he could not see clearly in the darkness as the color of the blood had turned black. However, Eorong had been standing not far away from Long Fei from the start. With her cultivation, she could easily see 100 meters in the darkness, even if Long Fei was completely covered in blood armor. Eorong looked at the place Long Fei had blocked off, and her face slightly flushed. Long Fei hurriedly turned around and changed his clothes. He then calmed himself down and said, "I've met a few demon beasts. There's nothing special about this place. I've long told you that this isn't the necropolis tomb. If it's really this, then this is a huge trap." He didn't say anything about the green dragon. There was no need to say it. As for the azure dragon body, he would bring it out when he needed to use it in the future. At least, this was one of the things Long Fei relied on to enter the universal realm. Eleusian said indifferently, "Then that's strange. How did this happen? The grade of this tomb is very high. Even the Zhenwu continent would not be able to reach such a level." Eleusian had some doubts about Long Fei's words. However, after all, he didn't see anything. Long Fei said, "Let's not talk about this for now. Let's hurry up and leave. They are worried about us." Right now, they could already see the other side of the exit. If they opened up another layer, they would be able to enter the Xianyu mountain range and directly avoid the powerhouse of God's tribe's pursuit. Everyone's expression turned cold. He quickly followed Long Fei out of the secret world. When he saw Long Fei walk out of the secret world, Xiao Dai immediately ran forward and threw himself in a Long Fei's embrace, saying, "Along, you've finally come out. I was so anxious that I died." Gui Qingshan's eyes released a gold light and thought, "Beautiful." Long Fei lightly patted Xiao Dai's back and said, I'm fine. Didn't I come out already?" Xiao Dai took a whiff and asked, "Along, what smell do you have on you? Why does it smell a little special? It seems to be the scent of blood. It's so special. It's for dogs. Come here." Xiao Dai immediately thought of Tang Renjia. Actually, when Long Fei came out, Tang Renjia had already smelled it, and he also knew what the smell was. Tang Renjia took a whiff and said, "No, I don't smell anything special. If there is, it would be Boss Manly scent." Long Fei looked at Tang Renjia. He did not foolishly know what Tang Renjia had smelled. His nose was sharper than a dog's. How could he not smell something? Tang Renjia moved and said, "Boss, how did my performance go? However, why do you have the scent of dragon blood on you? Could it be that the dangerous aura is coming from dragon?" Long Fei said, "It's good that you know it. Don't tell anyone." Tang Renjia immediately replied, "Understood." Long Fei did not say what happened inside, and directly said, "Let's hurry up and go. The powerhouse of God's tribe is about to catch up." And, all right, Long Fei walked to the entrance of the zombie main hall, and once again destroyed the entrance of the secret world. Everyone quickly entered the lower level. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A golden hand suddenly extended out of the crack in the secret world, which tore the void apart. One of the golden armor elder walked out, while the other one followed out, standing in midair, standing in the dark world. The golden armored elder's idea slightly moved as it gently sensed every nook and cranny of the dark world. Suddenly, a golden armor elder suddenly sank. Shwa! It instantly landed on the ground and then lightly grabbed. It grabbed a thin layer of green dragon scale and the dragon scale really started to fade and disappear. These were the dragon scales which Long Fei had revealed when he punched the azure dragon in the beginning. Golden Armor Elder's gaze suddenly tensed up. Dragon? A true dragon. Another Golden Armor Elder descended and looked at the dragon scale. His eyes shook as he said faintly, "Why is there a dragon here? And why is it a high-ranked one at that?" Golden Armor Elder laughed. "Seems like we underestimated that Ming clan brat. To be able to kill a dragon of this level, his Ming clan's inheritance of power must not be simple. They are at least the power of the fourth layer of the Ming clan's legacy." Of course, they did not see the azure dragon. The dragon scales that they had obtained had been diluted for a very long time. Else, they would not have thought that to be the case. "Let's go chase them. Don't worry, we won't be able to escape." Ha! Boom! Xianyu Mountain Range made a loud noise. Then, a group of people rushed out from Secret World. When Long Fei destroyed the Secret World's entrance once again, even if he couldn't stop the powerhouse of God's tribe, he could still delay them for a long time. "I'm finally out. You finally got rid of it." "Ha ha! So what if you're a powerhouse of God's tribe? Wasn't he left behind by our boss?" "Ha ha ha!" Everyone let out a long sigh. Being chased by powerhouse of God's tribe was truly very uncomfortable. Long Fei said, "Let's not talk too much for now. We need to hurry to Magic Tribe." The destructive power of the powerhouse of God's tribe was too strong. They could destroy the entire plane. He had to leave this plane as soon as possible. Otherwise, Long Fei would feel that it was not safe. At this moment, Kai Lina landed, his eyebrows slightly tightened, and said, "Xianyu's sect is gone." It was razed to the ground. Moreover, a deep crater was created after an explosion of hundreds of thousands of kilometers in radius. The Xianyu mountain range began to crack as volcanoes erupted at many places, and the spirit energy of this plane became chaotic. Most likely, this plane won't be able to hold out much longer. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Is the plane about to crack? Holy **T. Chapter 2665, Can we stop it? Chapter 2665, Can we stop it? Actually, it was far more serious than what Kai Lina had said. God Capital's collapse caused a tremor in the Earth's core. The entire plane became unstable, but in less than a day, a powerful explosion occurred in Xianyu's sect, causing the entire plane to be in an even more unstable state. Furthermore, the cracks underground were frantically extending, and were already linked to the cracks produced by the God Capital. Right now, the Zhenwu continent was like a ball that was about to split open. Half of the plane had already split open, and if there was another strike, the entire plane would be split into two, and all the humans, demon beast, and other living creatures on the plane would be reduced to fine powder. Even the strong ones on the Zhenwu continent would not be able to withstand the explosion. Of course, Powerhouse of God's tribe would be fine, because they came from Universal Realm. Because they were the powerhouse. A plane of this level wouldn't be able to do anything to them. F***CK. I've always thought that I killed people like they were nothing, but compared to them, I've always been a pure little lamb. Long Fei could not help but clench his fists. Life is like grass, to the extent that, in the eyes of the powerhouse of God's tribe, his life was worse than grass. A ball of anger rose in Long Fei's heart. No matter what, even if you are the heavens and you are the gods, you cannot step on the fates of others like this. Illusian said, "In their eyes, there are many planes and many people do not need to exist." Xianyu sect. There are more than 1,000 disciples and dozens of small towns around Xianyu sect. There are at least 1,000,000 humans and countless creatures. It just disappeared. Gui Qingshan said angrily, "I already told them, but they refused to listen. Now all of you are dead." Sigh. Everyone's expression was heavy. God Tribe was too cruel. He really didn't think much of the people of the lower plains. Long Fei gritted his teeth. "Return to Magic Tribe. I will definitely settle this matter properly with them." Long Fei wished that he could immediately rush to the front of Powerhouse of God's Tribe. But he couldn't. He had his brothers by his side. With his women around, he couldn't let them risk following him. He had to first open the entrance to the demon world. Those around him must be safe. If he couldn't even protect the people around him, what could he use to protect the people of the entire plane? He was not a god. He was not so kind. However, Long Fei knew that there was a reason why he could live on in each of his lives. Since the Golden Armor Elder loved to dictate the fate of men, then let them have a taste of being dictated by others. And then again, Long Fei's current strength. Indeed, he had received the Azure Dragon Blood Essence, and his physical body had become stronger, but Long Fei was still not able to unleash the full power of the Azure Dragon Blood Essence. He was still unable to contend against the powerhouse of God's tribe. His strength was too unstable. Many of these powers were not something Long Fei could truly control himself. Furthermore, the underworld fire did not have much of an effect on the powerhouse of God's tribe. It needed to level up even more, so the power in his right arm was the same. How could he control it? He did not want to fall into that muddled state. He did not want to be controlled by that power. If he wanted to defeat the powerhouse of God's tribe, he had to raise his strength again. He needed time. Long Fei said solemnly, "Enter the wilderness." The idea moved, rising into the air. Swoosh, 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 whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisks one after another. They followed behind Long Fei and quickly flew up towards the sky of the wilderness. One day later, Long Fei and his people came to the territory of Magic Tribe. To their surprise, the place was packed. Other than the people from the Magic Tribe, most of them were humans who had rushed over from other cities. Old, weak, and handicapped. Warrior, powerhouse. Countless people sat on the ground, despair evident in their eyes. Even half of the plain was collapsing, so only the wilderness and the Magic Tribe were slightly safe. There were people everywhere in the Magic Tribe, and far away, there were crowds of people that were still entering the Magic Tribe's territory. The Demon Emperor's death had already reached the Magic Tribe. They also knew about the new Demon Emperor. It was a human that they revered with all their hearts. As a result, when the humans rushed into the territory of Magic Tribe, they did not push everyone aside. Instead, they arranged for the environment as far as possible and took care of everyone who needed to be taken care of. Magic Tribe's actions also moved everyone. At this moment, there were no races in the Zhenwu continent. Work together to fight against the God's tribe together. Moreover, they were also waiting. There was hope in those despairing eyes. And finally, there was a sliver of hope. Long Fei. On the Magic Mountain, Long Fei landed. The leaders of the various families of Magic Tribe immediately came forward and kneeled down. With a heavy voice, they said, "Greetings, Lord Demon Emperor." Long Fei's gaze tensed up. The 17th son of Devil took out his Demon Emperor badge and knelt in front of Long Fei as well. All of Magic Tribe kneeled down. "Greetings, Lord Demon Emperor." Long Fei's mind tightened. At this time, he did not hesitate. He knew that the people of the Magic Tribe were waiting for him, and the entire Zhenwu continent was waiting for him. The aura around Long Fei moved all the people in the plaza up. "Now that I, Long Fei, am here, I will definitely protect you all." And then, Long Fei quickly walked into the Demon God Hall. "Tell me about the current situation." An old man immediately said, "The southern region has already collapsed. The entire plain is collapsing, and the Zhenwu continent won't be able to hold on for 10 days. After you killed the Sky Envoy, everyone placed your last hope in front of the Zhenwu continent. At the same time, we have also formed an army formed by various races. These people all have very high cultivation bases, but there are also some with special abilities waiting for your orders." Everyone looked at Long Fei. Long Fei didn't have any expression, but his heart secretly tensed up. "I'm afraid. Powerhouse of God's tribe simply won't give us 10 days of time. Once they break through Secret World, they would immediately attack here. At that time, if there was another explosion in the Magic Tribe territory, this plane would probably be destroyed. The entire plane, the billions, the tens of billions of lives." Huff! Long Fei let out a light breath and said, "Right now, all of you should enter the territory of the Magic Tribe to the best of your abilities. No one is rejected. All life is life. The old man nodded. As you command. Long Fei looked at him again and said, also, I want to know everything about the Magic Mountain. If he wanted to access the entrance, the Magic Mountain was the only place. This was what Long Fei felt. It was also the feeling he had when he had broken through the 10-story Devil Tower. The old man immediately replied, I will immediately send down orders and gather all the information I have regarding the Magic Mountain. Long Fei waved his hand, go. The crowd dispersed. Yurong walked to Long Fei's side, slowly squatted down, and leaned on Long Fei's knees, softly saying, can we hold on? I don't know. The dragon shook his head as he looked at the exclamation mark that was floating above Yurong's head. What was the difference? Could it be that he really had to penetrate her body in order to activate it? Thank you for your support. Chapter 2666, Dragon Scale Break. Chapter 2666, Dragon Scale Break. Long Fei had never been able to find an answer to this question. He had checked the 7 Meridians painting quest hundreds of times, but there were no hints or clues. What was needed to complete the quest? What kind of standard was reached? I don't know. There was no explanation at all. Long Fei could already do it. Now he was just missing an exchange of words. Was this really the only way? However, right now, Long Fei simply did not have the time to do all these. The entire Zhenwu continent placed his hopes on him, and at this critical juncture, he had no interest in going deep understanding Yurong. Long Fei gently caressed Yurong's hair as a thought came to mind. Yurong muttered, why don't we escape? The Zhenwu continent has somewhere to hide. When we're still alive, we'll enter some special secret world S. She didn't want Long Fei to take another risk. And even more so, did not want to see anything untoward happen to Long Fei. Powerhouse of God's tribe. How cruel were their methods? They didn't take human life seriously at all. Furthermore, the powerhouse of God's tribe was really too strong. Yurong's eyelids had not stopped moving for the past 2 days. Long Fei said softly, you can't run. Even if you can dodge for a while, can you hide for an entire lifetime? We still have to face what we have to face. It's useless to avoid it. Flee. The entire universal realm was in the grasp of the God's tribe. Where could he possibly escape to? The same as the Ming clan? He had lived for 1 trillion years, but in the end, they still wouldn't let you go. Fleeing was the most useless option. Not to mention, there was no way he could escape. The Zhenwu continent is about to crack, and this continent is about to crack. All the secret world on this continent are going to crack and dimensions are going to shatter. If you did not have the power to transcend this plane of existence, you would still die. Dodging was useless. Yurong leaned in closer. Her 2 hands hugged tightly onto Long Fei's thighs and gently lowered her head onto the pillow. She didn't speak anymore. Long Fei leaned on the Demon Emperor's chair and thought quietly. After a long time, Long Fei stood up and said, if we can't find a way to open the entrance to the demon realm, then there's still a way. Yurong looked up at Long Fei and asked, what are you planning to do? Long Fei said, since we can't dodge, then let's fight. Yurong said, that is the powerhouse of God's tribe, their strength. Long Fei said, there is no one who doesn't die in this world, and it is the same for powerhouse of God's tribe. As long as we kill them, the danger in Zhenwu continent will naturally be resolved. Ooh, I want to go into seclusion. Tell everyone to wait for my return. I want to break through the shackles of the Zhenwu continent's realm once again. And then, Long Fei took a step forward. Yurong's hands also loosened slightly. She wouldn't stop Long Fei from doing anything. She stood up from the ground and said, Amen. Then, Long Fei disappeared in a flash of light, disappearing from the Demon God Hall. If they couldn't avoid it, if they couldn't escape, then let's fight. War was Long Fei's personality. If he was alone, he would wait for powerhouse of God's tribe to come out. Now he represents the entire Zhenwu continent. Boom! Half an hour later, a loud noise came from the depths of the wilderness as Long Fei landed. His body floated above the surface of the cold pond as his heart sunk slightly. He thought to himself, in the past, I relied on experience points to accumulate any cultivation to break through realms, but now, I have already reached the peak of Zhenwu continent. If I do not enter a higher plane, my level will definitely not be able to go up. It was the same level setting as in the game. The highest level was level 70. No matter how much experience you received, it was useless. This was a game setting. Unless the game was updated, your experience points would be able to break through levels and level up again. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to level for the rest of your life. Long Fei was currently in this state. Unless he could break into a higher realm, his level would not be able to. Long Fei was very clear about this point. If he could still level up, he would have done so a long time ago. Just the Azure Dragon's 100 billion experience points alone was enough for him to level up. Now, the only thing I can rely on is comprehension. Then it's over. The power in my right arm. This was the only way for Long Fei to raise his strength. While they were talking, Long Fei's mind slightly sunk. His entire being became quiet. He turned around and slightly exerted some strength in his fists, causing the idea to activate the power in his right arm and change his mind. Boom! Long Fei's clothes automatically ignited. His entire body was scarlet red. A patch of blood-red scales appeared, making him look like a blood Qilin. At this moment, all the restless demon beasts in the wilderness immediately crawled to the ground. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. He was like a monarch descending upon the world. At this moment, Long Fei's body slowly sank, falling down from the cold pond. Gulp, gulp. Long Fei was completely still within immense power. The idea was continuously stimulated and continuously tested. Under the water, he discovered that he did not need to hold his breath. He could completely breathe freely. Is this the power of a dragon? That's not right. Right now, my entire body is covered with dragon scales. I haven't become a dragon. And the scales on my body have only grown under the surface of my skin, but they haven't. Then, will I be able to become stronger after I break through this level of power? Long Fei's heart turned sinister. Zhang Xian frowned. A huge aura burst out crazily. All the veins in his body bulged. At this time, he didn't care about anything else. He was desperately releasing the power in his right arm to the maximum extent. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The 100-meter deep cold pond began to rumble. The ice-cold, bone-piercing cold pond water began to boil and boil in less than half a minute. The entire surface of the pond was like boiling water. Not enough. It's not enough. Still not enough. Long Fei roared loudly. He forcefully released his power. He never thought that he was very smart. He also knew that he didn't have much talent for cultivation. From the start, he only relied on persevering, and his effort was many times stronger than others. He didn't understand cultivation. He didn't know how to cultivate the power in his body. This was the only way. It was also a way to die. He was continuously releasing his strength, using it to break through his limits and break through his shackles. This is a very painful process. However, this was the only method that Long Fei could think of. No matter how much pain he endured, it didn't matter to him. As long as he could become stronger, it was enough to protect the people he wanted to protect. Again, boom, boom. Energy boiled within his body, and his blood also seemed to be burning as it continuously surged forth. The scorching energy in his body was also being released continuously. A few hours later, one dragon scale after another pierced his skin. Chapter 2667, Explosive Power. Chapter 2667, Explosive Power Dragon Scale Break. Dark red blood exploded from every pore on his body. One by one, the dragon scale pierced the body with blood. It was very ferocious. Long Fei would feel the pain of his body being torn apart at least once. This pain almost made him faint, but he still endured with his teeth. Because, with his draconic scales breaking through his body, he could feel the changes in his physical body. He could feel that the power under his right arm had grown even stronger. Hoo. Long Fei panted heavily, blood trickling down from the corner of his mouth. His face was pale white as he looked at his right hand. The bloody draconic scales were filled with the stench of blood, while at the same time, They carried with them an incomparable amount of power. Ooh! Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he thought in his heart. Let's give it a try. His right arm moved. As if accepting Long Fei's orders, the dragon scales instantly exploded, and Long Fei threw out a punch. His entire body was currently within the cold pond. He did not use any other power, just the power in the dragon's scale. His right fist moved, striking a very ordinary blow into the depths of the cold pond. Bam! A very soft sound. It was just a splash, nothing special. His strength was mediocre. His speed was quite ordinary. His aura was also very normal, and without any change, it was just a normal strike. Long Fei thought in his heart, "Can't we? Is it not enough?" But suddenly, the water in the cold pond suddenly began to swirl and shrink back. Shwa! The entire pond was filled with water, millions of tons of water. At this moment, all of them disappeared. It was too strange. Moreover, the surroundings of the cold pond quickly became dry and cracked. The surrounding algal plants were instantly dried and withered. This power, just as Long Fei was in shock, an extremely immense power existed within his right arm. It was the 1,000,000 tons of frost jade pool that had just been absorbed. Damn, he absorbed the sleeping water with a single punch? What kind of power is this? Long Fei didn't even understand it himself. His understanding of power was too little, and his understanding of the dragon race's power was also too little. What kind of power was this? Rise! With a shift of his aura, Long Fei's body flew into the air. Long Fei looked down at the dried-up cold pond and let it go. His right arm moved. Fire! Walala! Rumble! Following Long Fei's order, the 1,000,000 tons of cold pond water turned into a huge round ball, and then it smashed towards the cold pond. He couldn't feel the strength behind it. However, the moment the 1,000,000 tons of water fell into the cold pond, a violent shock wave was released. The ground began to shake and churn like a wave. Rings after rings quickly swept out, enveloping an area of 100,000 kilometers. Rumble! 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 The entire wilderness was shaking. At this moment, all the demon beasts within a 100,000-kilometer radius were instantly killed. His body was smashed to smithereens. Not even the flying demon beast had been spared. Not even a single mosquito remained. The cold pond seemed to have transformed into a gigantic crater with a diameter of 10,000 meters. Long Fei was dumbstruck. Looking at his right arm that had grown dragon scales on it, he became extremely excited. Ha ha! Ha ha! The heck! This power! This is awesome! This is awesome! Too strong. It was hard to imagine. The scene just now continuously played around in Long Fei's mind. The power was too terrifying. Ha ha ha! Powerhouse of God's tribe, right? I want to see just how strong you are. Long Fei revealed an excited expression, then heavily descended, once again landing on the ground. He sat cross-legged, and once again released the maximum amount of power from his right arm, as well as stimulate it to the maximum extent. He wanted to completely transform himself into a dragon. There were only a few dozen dragon scales on his right arm, but he was already able to unleash such a powerful force. What would happen if he were to release all of the dragon scales? Just the thought of it made him excited. Long Fei was getting impatient. Boom! Boom! Long Fei's body released many roars and clashed again and again. It was very difficult. It was extremely difficult to break through a piece of dragon scale after being released a few times, but Long Fei did not give up. Even if he died, he would risk it all. A loud sound reverberated across the desolate land, causing the people on the magic tribe to tremble slightly. Many people felt fear and thought that the powerhouse of God's tribe was already in the wilderness. Magic tribe also became restless. The elderly people from the 10 tribes were crazily collecting all kinds of information regarding the Magic Mountain, organizing them as well. The patrol team, led by the Transformers, was also crazily arranging the people who entered the Magic Tribe's territory. Millions of people came to Magic Tribe every day. This place became the last resting place of the Zhenwu continent. More and more people gathered. An old man wearing a purple robe stood outside the demon god palace of Magic Mountain. Although the old man couldn't see his face, he gave off a gloomy feeling. With each step he took, he seemed as if he would collapse at any moment, and he walked out of the great hall. When Princess Sand Moon saw him, he immediately stepped forward and said, "Old Grandpa, let me help you." The elder smiled and said, "I'm old and useless." The moment Princess Sand Moon held on to the old man, her heart trembled because he felt that there was a piece of hardwood under his clothes. Shaodai stepped forward and said, "Old grandfather, is there something you need?" The old man's eyes swept over the audience, and his expression darkened. He said, "I want to see your demon emperor." The Lucian turned around and looked at the old man, and said slightly, "Our demon emperor? Then, who are you?" The old man indifferently said, "I'm just an old man that's about to die. I just want to see the demon emperor before I die." The old man's actions were very strange. Furthermore, his aura was completely lifeless. It's not that there aren't any. It's just that their levels weren't high enough. Ilyushin's eyes narrowed, and he immediately said, "Princess, come over here." Princess Sandmoon was stunned as hands released the old man. The old man's eyes flashed with a cold light. He grabbed Princess Sandmoon and said, "The little girl is supporting me well. Why did you let her leave?" The moment he was grabbed, Princess Sandmoon felt as if all his arms were gone, as if everything in his body was being drained away. At this moment, everyone in the Demon God Hall surrounded him. Lucian stared at the old man and asked, "Who exactly are you?" The old man wasn't afraid. There wasn't even a trace of fear in his eyes. He was extremely calm, and his eyes were as if he was looking down on everyone. The old man said in the same hoarse voice, "I just want to see your demon emperor. If he's here, then ask him to come out and see me. I can help him resolve this crisis." While they were talking, the old man chuckled sinisterly. Chapter 2668, Golden Armor Elder Breaking Through Secret World. Chapter 2668, Golden Armor Elder Breaking Through Secret World. The sound of his laughter was eerie. The entire palace was slowly rotating back and forth. It sent chills down one's spine. At this moment, the surrounding temperature plummeted. It was as if the air itself was being frozen. At this moment, under the old man's feet, the power of death slowly spread out. The originally smooth and heavy marble floor instantly turned into sand. This power, I've never seen it before. Iorong took note of it and quickly stepped forward. The Demon Emperor is not here. The old man looked at Iorong and his hands loosened slightly. Princess Sandmoon returned back to normal. She had also felt the sensation of his arm, so she quickly retreated behind everyone. The old man looked at Iorong and said, "What a peerless woman, and she's actually a gifted soul of Underworld. It's a pity. What a pity." Lucian could not help but ask, "What's a pity?" The old man smiled faintly. He did not say a word, but looked at Iorong and said, "When your demon emperor returns, please tell him to come to Xianyun City to find me. Remember, he must come. Only I can help him out. I'll definitely remember it." Finished. The old man walked out of the hall, and the next step his figure disappeared as if he had vanished from the face of the earth. After a long time, everyone reacted, and at the same time, Iorong arrived at the place where the old man was standing just now. Looking at the large piece of marble that had turned into powder, he frowned. Thin Monkey muttered, "Immortal Cloud City? Didn't the Immortal Cloud City crumble and become a dead city?" "I heard that too. Immortal Cloud City was razed to the ground overnight. The entire city has been reduced to dust, leaving behind only a piece of flat ground. Not even half a brick left behind. He's in the Immortal Cloud City? Who the hell is this old guy?" Not long later, Transformers brought a large group of people in. Who just kidnapped my sister-in-law? Who is it?" His killing intent surged, adding 3 heads and 6 arms. The Transformers was truly terrifying. Princess Sandmoon replied, "I'm fine." Iorong stood up and said faintly, "This old man is not simple at all. He saw through my gifted soul of Underworld with a glance." And Iorong picked up a handful of marble powder from the ground and said, The tragedy in Xianyan City could have also been caused by him. Thin Monkey said, "Damn, what happened to Zhenwu continent? Let's not talk about the two powerhouse of God's tribes who are wreaking havoc everywhere. What are we going to do with such a perverted powerhouse now? They're all here for the boss. Why is that? How did boss offend them? F*CK. How F*King infuriating." Transformers asked, "Who is the old man you're talking about? Was it the person who kidnapped her? Where did he go? I'll go meet him." Just as Thin Monkey wanted to say something, he was interrupted by Eeyore. "Let's wait for Long Fei to come back first. What we need to do now is to do our best to look for the secret of Magic Mountain in this current situation. Is there any news from the great senior brother?" One of the clan elders of the Magic Tribe said, "There isn't anything on the side of the Magic Captains, but they have already entered the Magic Mountain. So far, they have not discovered anything." Eeyore replied, "Machem." Transformers said, "We have to do something, right? I'm really going to go crazy." They all knew that as long as Golden Armor Elder broke through Secret World, they would immediately come here. Breaking through Secret World was only a matter of time, but there was nothing they could do. That was hard. Eeyore said, "Become strong. Even if we have a second, we need to try our best to become stronger than the second before. Only by becoming stronger can we fight against Long Fei. Otherwise, we will forever be his burden." This sentence had reached their hearts. It had always been Long Fei protecting them. Long Fei would need to save them many times, because they weren't strong enough. Transformers' gaze tensed up and said solemnly, "I understand." He strode out of the hall. The idea moved, holding the scarlet red staff in its hand. It jumped up heavily and landed 1,000 meters away. Then, with a few steps, it disappeared. The war was coming. Although they didn't know when it had started, they knew that there was a battle to the death waiting for them. Become stronger. He must become even stronger, even if it was an hour, a minute, or even a second. The big guy said innocently, "I'm going." Thin Monkey said, "I'll go too." Most of the people in the hall had already left, and they were all shocked by what they saw. He could no longer be a burden to Long Fei. Eeyore looked at his father and said, "Father." Lucien smiled faintly and said, "Do whatever you want to do. Father will not stop you." Eeyore acknowledged gently before leaving the hall. She hadn't used the power of the Nether Phoenix because she was afraid of exposing her identity, but now she had been discovered. Now that things had reached this stage, he no longer had to be afraid of anything. Gifted soul of Underworld, the power of the Netherworld Phoenix. She wanted to raise her strength to the limit. This was the only thing she could do for Long Fei. Boom, boom, boom. Deep in the wilderness, the power around Long Fei's body kept exploding. A blood-red colored flame burned all over his body. His brows were tightly knitted, and blood-red colored sweat rolled down his body. From the half of his arm to his entire arm, Long Fei had used an entire 2 days' time. Now, other than the imprint of the dragon-shaped body, Long Fei's right arm also had dragon scales that covered the 5 fingers of his hand. His strength became even stronger. Huff! Long Fei felt as if all of his breath was stained with blood. Every time he activated a piece of dragon scale, his body would be in immense pain. After the pain came the sudden force of a new sky. Is it my limit? Long Fei let out a deep breath. He was currently exhausted and no longer had the energy to activate the scales on his body. Huff! I wonder if this kind of training method will work. If it's possible, maybe I won't need the power of the system anymore. Long Fei laughed. Of course. He only said that he knew that there was no system. He reckoned that he would not even be able to enter Xianyu's sect, much less encounter so many people and so many brothers. However, if it could be combined with training and the system, then it would be perfect. He could cultivate on his own and also use the system to level up. Equipment dropped. Obtaining the system reward would be such a great experience. This was also Long Fei's fantasy. If I were the system's designer, I would have definitely made up for it. Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, boom! A loud sound was heard. Soon after, a beam of fire shot up into the sky like a beam of light. Long Fei frowned. Looking in the direction of the flames, he said, "The secret world has been broken through. Are you out yet?" Chapter 2669, Kill Him? Pleasure. Chapter 2669, Kill Him? Pleasure. The tremors spread, and flames soared into the sky. After that loud noise, the entire Xianyu mountain range began to rapidly collapse, and huge mountains started to collapse one after another, causing the lava underground to erupt. Millions of kilometers of mountains turned into a sea of fire. It linked to the sky, as if half the sky was burning. Moreover, the underground crevices were quickly linked together. God capital, Xianyu sect, and right now, the entire Xianyu mountain range was rapidly cracking and unceasingly expanding. At this rate, in less than 3 days, the entire Jinwu continent would be in pieces. Oh, I'm finally out. I never thought that there would be such a high-level secret world in such a low-level plane. I truly never expected this. Golden Armor Elder stood on top of a mountain and looked down at the ground. Everything around them was in ruins. That brat deliberately lured us in, and then he wrecked the secret world, attempting to trap us inside to delay our escape. I'm very angry. A Golden Armor Elder was looking in the direction of the wilderness. And then, with a slight movement of his finger, dozens of golden pills flew out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just like a missile being fired, Golden Armor Elder's face was filled with contempt as he sneered. Does he think he can escape? What an overconfident thought. Sigh, aren't these ants just like this? Fighting the heavens? Almost looking to die. As soon as he finished, the dozens of medicinal pills drew lines of flame in the sky, after which they descended into the desolated land. Immediately, the desolated land began to burst apart in a crazy manner. The demon beast was also good. The people who hid in the wilderness cried and knelt down to worship the heavens, but it was completely useless. No one would pity them. At this moment, a Golden Armor Elder slightly moved the center of his brows. The corners of his mouth curled up, and he laughed lightly. We found him. Ha. Kid, let's see where you can escape to this time. Then, a golden light flashed, and Golden Armor Elder teleported out. The wilderness had turned into a sea of fire. The people who had hidden in the wilderness were fleeing frantically, but they were soon engulfed in flames. The violent explosion had also caused the wasteland to crack. Once a crack was connected to the crack in the Xianyu mountain range, it would crack open. The end of the Jinwu continent is here. Help! Save my mother! Save my mother! Is there anyone here? Save my mother! Within the sea of fire, a little girl with a face full of filth was crying her heart out. Beside her lay a middle-aged woman who had fainted. Clearly, she was a fighter. His cultivation wasn't low. He used all of his strength to form a line of defense, protecting his daughter. A golden light descended. Golden Armor Elder looked at the little girl amidst the sea of fire and smiled slightly. Little friend, I'll save you. The girl immediately said, Thank you, my lord. Thank you, my lord. I'll kneel down for you. Hurry and save my mother. Hurry and save her. At this moment, the middle-aged woman slowly opened her eyes, seeing Golden Armor Elder fall to the ground. Her expression tensed up as if she had returned back to the mortal world. She held the girl behind her and pleaded, Master, I beg of you. She is only a child, just a child. I beg of you. The little girl did not understand and said, Mother, this Lord has come to save us. Look at him. His body is glowing with a golden light, and he isn't afraid of fire at all. He should be the deity you're talking about, right? Mr. Immortal, you'll save us, right? The middle-aged woman trembled, grabbing tightly onto her daughter. She knew who Golden Armor Elder was, and what the golden light on his body signified. The Golden Armor Elder smiled kindly and gently. That's right. I'm here to save you. I'm an immortal. The little girl said innocently, Mother, look, he is the celestial grandfather who has shown great mercy to us. He is here to save us from the sea of fire. He had an innocent look on his face. The woman knelt on the ground and quickly kowtowed. I beg of you. please let her go. I beg of you, please let her go. Golden Armor Elder smiled faintly as his fingers moved slightly. A surge of power directly bound the woman and then, with a slight movement, placed her above the flames. The woman's whole body was on fire. She let out a series of screams, but she still shouted, I beg of you, please let my child go. Please, please. When the little girl saw her mother put the fire to roast, she immediately rushed over and said, Mother, mother. Golden Armor Elder said, slightly, I'm saving your mother. As soon as the power was released, the woman fell into the sea of fire and was instantly engulfed by the flames. The little girl was so scared that her face turned pale and her eyes sparkled. She stood where she was, trembling. Golden Armor Elder laughed out loud and said, Ha ha, did you see that? Your mother is no longer screaming right now. So did I save your mother? Ha ha. The little girl's voice was trembling as she stared at Golden Armor Elder and said, I want to avenge Mother. I want to kill you. He took out a small wooden sword and rushed fiercely towards Golden Armor Elder. Golden Armor Elder smiled lightly. Don't worry, I will save you too. I'll let you go and recruit your mother. Ha ha, a cruel sneer. With a gentle hook of his finger, he lifted the little girl up and spoke sinisterly. There is no need for ants. It is a waste for lowly humans like you to live. All of you go to hell. The idea moved. He threw them all into the sea of fire. At this moment, from the depths of the sea of flames, a powerful surge of power came crashing towards him. His power was like a shock wave that caught the little girl in the air. Under his power, the flames were instantly extinguished. Not even ashes were left behind. The little girl slowly landed on the ground. She looked around and saw a figure slowly walking towards her. One person. The Golden Armor Elder laughed coldly and said, I've finally come out. The little girl looked at the person that walked out and asked, Big brother, are you also a scoundrel or a deity? Long Fei replied, No, there are no deities in this world, nor are there any immortals. No one can become a deity, no one can become an immortal, and there is no one who can replace the heavens. You have to remember, no one can casually take control of another's life, and their life will forever be in their own hands. Did you remember that? The little girl nodded and said, Big brother, I'll remember it. Following that, the little girl said, Big brother, can you do me a favor? Long Fei said, Tell me. The little girl pointed at the high and mighty Golden Armor Elder and said, Can you help my mother take revenge and kill him? Her eyes were filled with hatred. She would never forget what happened just now. Her heart was filled with hatred. Long Fei looked at the little girl's eyes that were filled with hatred and lightly smiled. I am happy to help you. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2670. The Dead It's You. Chapter 2670. The Dead It's You. Golden Armor Elder looked at Long Fei and laughed coldly. He stared at Long Fei with a superior gaze and said, Brat, you finally appeared. Do you think you can escape? Long Fei laughed. Run? I never thought of running away. If I don't kill all of you God's tribe dogs, how would I escape? As soon as he finished, Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Explode. Boom! With a huge bang, the power in Long Fei's right arm began to surge crazily. Also at this moment, Long Fei directly smashed at Golden Armor Elder's face. You bastards killed her mother in front of the girl. Are you still human? On behalf of the gods, represents the sky. You can't even represent a bastard. A ball of fury was burning in Long Fei's heart. He punched out. Green dragon flame. Boom! His fist began to burn. A streak of green flame was released from the flames. Golden Armor Elder squinted his eyes and disdainfully sneered. Dragon Clan cultivation technique? He even practiced a Dragon Clan cultivation technique. Seems like I've really underestimated you. The golden light on Golden Armor Elder's body stirred. All of the surrounding flames were absorbed, forming a powerful flame shield. Golden Armor Elder sneered. I am the powerhouse, so I can represent the gods, represent the heavens, understand? Kid, you want to fight against a god? You want to fight against the heavens? then you have to be even more powerful than the gods, understand? As soon as he finished, the flame shield suddenly formed a huge flame net, covering the entire sky and the earth as it flew towards Long Fei. It was incomparably huge. It was like a layer of fire in the sky. Ha ha ha! The golden armor elder smiled faintly and said, "Prepare to obediently kneel on the ground and tremble." Zhang Xian frowned. The coercion of the gods' tribes' aura also instantly blasted towards Long Fei's sea of consciousness. Kneel. Golden Armor Elder was his bodyguard. Although there were no gods' tribes in his body, there was still pressure from the gods' tribe's power. It was not pure, but it was strong enough in the Zhenwu continent. Boom! The heavens might shook. The lightning bolt struck down once again. As long as he was crushed, Long Fei would instantly be bound by the giant flaming net. However, Long Fei moved his right hand, supreme dragon knife, come out. Buzz! With a grab at the air, a blade with the back of a blade appeared. Long Fei's right hand held onto the blade hilt as he slashed at the air. Roar! 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 Numerous dragon-shaped blade chi whizzed out, shooting into the sky like living dragons, and crazily devoured the god tribe's pressure that was released by the Golden Armor Elder. In addition, it was instantly torn to shreds. The supreme dragon knife could even destroy the might of a dragon. Could the coercion released by a mere god's tribe guard like you compare to the might of a dragon? The golden armored man's eyes narrowed. Dragon clan, Saint Artifact, Golden Armor Elder bellowed. So what if I can cut off that pressure? It's the same as making you kneel down and tremble. The flames sunk, pressing down towards Long Fei. He punched out. Break for me. Boom! The two forces collided, and the sky of flames split apart. And then, with a walala sound, all of them were shattered as Long Fei broke through the giant flame web. He did not stop there. Rushing into the sky, Golden Armor Elder's expression was slightly unsightly. The pressure was extinguished. His strength was also shattered. It was a humiliation to him that there was actually someone who could shatter his power in such a low realm. The rage in his heart raged. Looking at Long Fei flying in the sky, the corners of his eyes turned sinister, his hands moved. You dog, you are really tired of living. Do you think that breaking through my two attacks is so impressive? Humph! Get down! Schwa! The huge golden light on his body flickered as he flew into the air. The power surged up to the sky like an ocean. This power, too powerful. This time, he was determined to beat Long Fei to the ground and take back everything. Rumble! 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 The sky was splitting. The void was constantly emitting explosive sounds. The Golden Armor Elder stirred the sea of energy, heavily smashing at Long Fei. Strong. Too strong. It was several times stronger than the power of the Sky Envoy. Fast. It was too fast. It was several times faster than the Sky Envoy. Long Fei's current cultivation could not keep up. He couldn't keep up. Strength. Long Fei suddenly sunk, clenched his teeth, and clenched his fists tightly. Rumble. A loud boom echoed in his body. Immediately after, his body turned scarlet. His blood-colored dragon scales flickered and burned as if burning within his body. Looking at the Golden Armor Elder, whose entire sea of energy was swirling, Long Fei let out a loud shout. Come. Die. Golden Armor Elder said in a deep voice. Both fists struck Long Fei's chest. The moment it was unleashed, the ocean of energy swirled up, forming a cone-shaped vortex that continuously rushed into Long Fei's body. This power, it was as if the entire Zhenwu continent had been drained. Long Fei's body caved in, his eyes were filled with rage, and he continued to fly backwards. At the same time, the bloody scales on his chest were abnormally hideous. Ah! Long Fei let out a painful roar. After flying tens of thousands of kilometers, his body sank down and suddenly stopped. Golden Armor Elder's power was still crazily rushing into Long Fei's body. Seeing the blood scales on Long Fei's body, his expression darkened. Dragon scales? You? Are you from the Dragon Clan? That's not right. You should be a remnant of the Ming clan. The dragon race has already been stepped on by us God's tribe, so we have to be their watchdogs. You can't be from the dragon race. But, he could not believe it. However, everything before his eyes was real once again. The blood-red scales that faintly appeared on Long Fei's skin were the dragon's scale. But didn't the dragons surrender? Wasn't it suppressed by the Emperor Xian? Even Long Wutian didn't dare to fart in front of God's tribe. How could there be a dragon who would dare to go against the God's tribe? He could not understand. However, although he was shocked, he did not relax his strength. Looking at the dragon scales on Long Fei's chest, he said in a heavy voice, "Whether it is the dragon race or the remnants of Ming clan, all of them were stepped on by our God's tribe, and you are also the same. Even if you are from two races, you will still be trampled by me. Die!" With the impact of the power, S chest continued to erupt with flames. It was like sparks produced from the collision of steel. At this moment, Long Fei felt the defense of the dragon scale. Very strong. If it was before, he would have already been burned to ashes. However, defense was not Long Fei's personality. His personality was explosive. It was offensive. His right arm moved, his entire sleeve ignited, and the incomparably ferocious dragon scales exploded. With a heavy grip, he gloomily said, "The one who died was you." Chapter 2671, Golden Armor Elder Explosion. Chapter 2671, Golden Armor Elder Explosion. The power of the dragon scale exploded. The blood-colored dragon's scales flickered with a blood-colored light. The power coursed through his veins and vessels and gathered in his fist. The entire world trembled. Golden Armor Elder's eyes tensed up. He looked at his burning arm and the bloody dragon scales that appeared on it. These dragon scales were very special. Not an ordinary dragon, and not a blood dragon. As for what kind of dragon, he had never seen one before. It was just that, no matter what kind of dragon it was, Golden Armor Elder was not afraid. Because, no matter how strong a dragon was, it was useless under his feet and would still be trampled by him. Watching Long Fei charge towards himself, the corner of Golden Armor Elder's mouth slightly curled as he sneered. "Little ant, how can you overturn the heavens?" Heaven's might. Boom! Both hands quickly formed a seal, causing the idea to soar to the sky. At this moment, the sky sank and began to wreak havoc. Streams of powerful energy came crashing down from above like a raging tide. It was abnormally fierce. The heavens were vast and mighty. The ripple spread to 1,000,000 kilometers. Under the might of the heavens, all living beings were like ants. The golden armor on Golden Armor Elder's body continuously exploded outwards with loud noises as Long Wind flew outwards. His slightly aged face carried a look of contempt as he looked at Long Fei and said, "Die." Long Fei did not stop. He didn't hesitate either. Beneath the might of the heavens, he did not even spare a glance at them as he punched towards Golden Armor Elder's face. Buzz! The golden armor on Golden Armor Elder's body released a golden light that enveloped his entire body. It was as if he had activated his golden body. The old man also laughed loudly. "Tremble under the might of the heavens, ha ha ha." But, without waiting for him to laugh, Long Fei punched out. Crack! The golden body began to crack. Walala! The power of his golden body completely shattered. At this moment, the power from the sky came crushing down, heavily smashing on a Long Fei's mind. His entire body felt as though it had touched 1,000,000 volts worth of pressure lines, and that kind of pain. He clenched his teeth tightly. He retracted his fist. The second punch shot out like lightning. Let's King see who dies first. Boom! Bam! He punched Golden Armor Elder in the face, causing Golden Armor Elder's face to darken and warp. Blood spurted out of his nose. Large front teeth flew out as well. He spat out a mouthful of blood. He fell from the sky like a kite with its string cut. One punch on the golden body break. The punch was seriously injured. This power, it was too fierce, unimaginably fierce. Even Long Fei himself didn't think of this, but he didn't think of this right now. While you're sick, I'll take your life." When he saw Golden Armor Elder fall like a kite with its string cut, Long Fei's body sank, and he almost sat on Golden Armor Elder's body. And then, bang, 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 bang. His fists were like rain. Berserk critical strike. Acting tough with your father? The powerhouse of God's tribe is impressive. Are you representing the gods by chasing and killing so many people from the Zhanwu continent? Represents the sky? I, your father, represent your ancestors. Long Fei roared heavily. Punch after punch was delivered. Every time a punch was thrown, an astonishing critical hit would float up. Looking at the long string of numbers, he really did make a fierce comparison. Boom! Golden Armor Elder was smashed to the ground. Long Fei stepped on his head, coldly stared at him, and said, "Come, continue to be arrogant for this old man." Golden Armor Elder's entire face was a mess of blood and flesh. All of the golden armor on his body had shattered. The defenses on his body could be said to be completely destroyed by Long Fei. Golden Armor Elder, who had one eye blown off gas, said, "Brat, do you know who I am? I am a bodyguard of the God's tribe. Do you dare to kill me?" "Haha, I don't dare. How dare I kill you? You are the bodyguard of the God's tribe. You represent the heavens. You represent the gods. How could I dare to kill someone as high and mighty as you?" Long Fei said indifferently. The Golden Armor Elder said with a heavy voice, "Then why don't you quickly let me go?" Before he could finish his words, the smile on Long Fei's face suddenly turned cold, and he coldly said, "I will self-destruct you." Boom! He aimed at Golden Armor Elder's Ming Men and threw a dragon-scale blood fist downwards. In the sky and in the ground, there is nothing that your father doesn't dare to do. Boom! The punch landed. The Ming Men shattered. Golden Armor Elder's eyes were wide open in anger. His eyeballs were about to pop out, and his screams could still be heard from the void. "No, no." Boom! His entire body exploded. The golden armor on his body instantly crumbled into dust. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing God's tribe, for gaining 100 million experience, 10 million true chi points, and 100 arrogant God energy value points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining God's tribe's space ring. Damn! He directly dropped the space ring, huh? Awesome. Long Fei was secretly excited. He immediately opened the system to check the space ring's contents. Suddenly, he discovered that the space ring of the Golden Armor Elder looked very similar to those of the space ring in his system. Long Fei's heart immediately went cold. Holy **T. Could it be that all 72 space ring are powerhouse of God's tribes? Could it be that these people were all killed by me? Oh my gosh, then I used to hang myself? Long Fei was stunned. The shape of the ring was similar to the carvings on it. It must have come from the same race. One could imagine. The 72 space ring were from God's tribe. Long Fei was a little excited in his heart. My current level is still not enough. Otherwise, if I were to take all these out, I really would be rich, haha. Right? Long Fei's expression retracted, and his eyes stared at another place within the flames, as he said, "How long are you planning to hide for? You're next. Come out." There were a total of 2 Golden Armor Elderess. One died, so naturally there was one more. As Long Fei's voice fell, the shadow of the Golden Armor Elder suddenly moved. He flew straight into the sky. He frowned. The power on Long Fei's body was too weird. He had never seen a dragon with such power. Moreover, God's tribe guards were instantly killed. He wanted to report to the higher-ups. Report everything that's happened here. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up as he coldly asked, "You want to leave? Have you asked Lousy? Do I agree? I don't agree. So, haha." Just at the instant when the Golden Armored Elder was about to fly up to the sky, Long Fei's right fist smashed against the ground as he shouted, "Myriad Dragon Burial Sky." Roar, roar. Dragon's roars resounded in the sky. The aura released from his right fist immediately condensed into the image of a dragon. It was incomparably huge, and then tens of thousands of dragons burst out, smashing heavily towards the Golden Armor Elder. That scene, it was like 10,000 heaven pillar smashing on a small ant. It was extremely shocking. Long Fei also sneered and said, "Die." Chapter 2672, Dragon Head. Chapter 2672, Dragon Head. 10,000 dragons buried heaven, and 10,000 dragons oppressive might. There was no way to block it. In an instant, Golden Armor Elder descended from the sky and then fiercely attacked with 10,000 dragons. Half a second later, the Golden Armor Elder turned into a pile of meat paste. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10 billion experience points for killing God's tribe, 10 million true chi points, and 100 arrogant God energy value points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining God's tribe's space ring. 2 notifications sounded. Long Fei said excitedly, "I broke through his space ring again, huh?" At the same time, Long Fei retracted his consciousness and let out a heavy breath. "I've finally killed him. Now he's in contact with the danger of the Zhenwu continent, right?" After the 2 God's tribe guards were killed, no one dared to cause any more harm to the Zhenwu continent. It was also at this time. Who? Crack! Long Fei retracted his aura and retracted the blood-colored dragon scales. At the same time, a bone-cracking sound came out from his body. At this moment, boom! His body felt as though it was about to explode. Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. Puff! His entire body fainted in an instant. Dragon scale powers backlash. The little girl ran up and shouted, "Big brother! Big brother! Big brother!" Long Fei's vision gradually blurred. He fell into darkness. Endless darkness. However, in the darkness, Long Fei felt that he was in another world, just like the special secret world he had encountered when he was facing the Azure Dragon in the Xianyu secret territory. "Is anyone there? Where is this place?" Long Fei shouted a few times. There was no reaction in the darkness. However, just as Long Fei turned around, a dragon head that was dripping with blood appeared behind him. It was huge, sinister, and covered in blood scales. However, if one wanted to compete with the blood-colored scales on the dragon head, the blood-colored dragon scales that appeared on Long Fei's arm were simply slag. He was being watched by 2 huge blood-red eyes. He didn't know why. The dragon head was sinister, and the kind of blood pupils could crush anything, so logically, Long Fei should be afraid. Even if he was not afraid, he would still be nervous. But Long Fei was not the least bit afraid or nervous. It was completely different from when he saw the green dragon. Very strange. Long Fei stood there quietly and asked, "Who are you?" The dragon whiskers fluttered. The dragon scale shone with a dark red light. He was like an old dragon king. After Long Fei asked this, the dragon head also produced a sound and asked, "Who are you?" It was as if he was repeating what Long Fei had said. Even his tone was the same. Long Fei said, "I am Long Fei." The dragon head also voiced out, "I am Long Fei." Long Fei muttered in his heart, "Damn, what's going on?" He looked at the dragon head and asked, "Where are we?" The dragon head also repeated, "Where are we?" Long Fei was a little unhappy and said, "Being a repeater is learning to speak very well." Dragon head still repeated, "Being a repeater is learning to speak very well." F***CK. Long Fei cursed in disdain. But at this time, the dragon head suddenly shouted out, "Try saying it again." Suddenly, his tone changed. Long Fei was shocked. He looked at the dragon head in shock and said, "So you are not a repeater, then who are you? Where's this place? Why do I have blood scales too?" Dragon head looked at Long Fei and said, "I told you everything just now." Long Fei. He wanted to curse again, but he held back the look in his eyes that were like a dragon head. "Told me? Tell me a hammer." At this moment, Long Fei felt his body shaking slightly. Boss, wake up, what's wrong?" "Boss, can you not use so much strength? Even if you don't die, you'll still shake me to death. Can you let him have a good rest? What are you doing?" The voices of the Transformers and a few others rang out. Long Fei's consciousness was also slowly recovering, as if he could quickly recover in this empty world. His originally heavy internal injuries were now. His body had already recovered. Long Fei looked at the dragon head and said, "I'm going." The dragon head did not intend to keep him. Long Fei was a little anxious. He felt that this dragon must have something to do with him. Why would he enter this special space? Was he dreaming? Or had his spiritual sense been absorbed into a special space? Long Fei himself was unsure. The dragon head said, "Let's go." Long Fei said, "You have nothing to say? For example, I have blood scales on me?" Dragon head said, "There's nothing that I want to say." Long Fei was a little disappointed, and then his consciousness could not control it at all, and his idea slowly disappeared. Looking at the dragon head that was dripping with blood, he slowly grew further and further away, and finally, it was hard to tell if he was delirious or delirious, but he seemed to be standing there. Buzz! Hoo 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 hoo! Long Fei jumped up from the bed, gasping for air, as if he was revived. And at this moment, Eorong's eyes were filled with tears. She pounced on him immediately and hugged him tightly as she sobbed. I thought. Woo-woo. The room was full of people. Transformers, 17th son of Devil. The Princess Sand Moon, Xiao Dai, the thin monkey, and the big-sized man were all there. And a little girl. Seeing Long Fei suddenly wake up, everyone's eyes filled with tears. Transformers said heavily, "You're finally awake. Boss, you've been in a coma for a day and a night, and you don't even have a breath left." Wee. Transformers held back. However, he still couldn't hold back his tears. Everyone was the same. Long Fei was slightly taken aback and said, "No, Aura. Damn, didn't I die for a day and a night? But why do I feel like it only took a few minutes? Damn, what the hell is going on?" Immediately, Long Fei immediately looked at his right arm. There was nothing on his right arm. Long Fei moved a little to feel it, and his eyes immediately lit up. The power has become stronger. So strange. How did it become stronger? Moreover, the number of activation tablets for the dragon scale has increased by 2. This confused Long Fei. Could it be you, a dragon head? Blood scale dragon. An aura even stronger than an azure dragon. Who exactly is it? Long Fei's heart was filled with incomparable doubt. He had too many questions that he needed to find the answer to. Long Fei regained his composure and said, "I'm fine. I made everyone worry. Also, the 2 golden armor Elder-S are already dead, and the danger in Junwu continent is also over. Don't worry, everyone." Eorong stood up and looked at Long Fei. Everyone looked at Long Fei. His expression was grave. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. He sensed that something was amiss and asked, "What happened?" Chapter 2673, Dimension Crash, Last Boss. Chapter 2673, Dimension Crash, Last Boss. What happened? Seeing everyone looking down in silence, Long Fei could not help but ask in a heavy voice. Everyone lowered their heads even more. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. It was also at this time. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Violent roars came from outside the room, as though the earth was collapsing. Furthermore, Long Fei could clearly feel that the spirit energy was abnormally chaotic. This spiritual energy was impossible to cultivate. There was only one possibility for the spirit energy to be in such a chaotic state. The Junwu continent was still collapsing, and it had already reached a point where there was no way of saving him. Thinking of this, Long Fei immediately rushed down from the bed and rushed out of the room. Walala, walala, walala. Yellow sand filled the sky. It was as if the entire world was covered by yellow sand, blotting out the sky and covering the sun. Moreover, even the air was filled with a withered and rotten aura. In Long Fei's line of sight, other than a magic mountain, there was nothing else. This is not desertification. It was the entire world turning into fine powder. This, Long Fei's eyes glazed over, and his entire person froze in shock. What exactly happened? How could this be? Why is this happening? Didn't I kill those 2 golden armor Elder-S? Why did it become like this in a single day? Long Fei frowned, looking at the densely packed magic mountain S. There were people standing every inch of the mountain peak. Furthermore, There were people standing on top of the people. In the huge yellow sand, the people on top of the magic mountain were like a group of ants, looking extremely small and weak. Everyone walked out of the room. Eorong said, "We also don't know, but when we found you in the wilderness, the Zhenwu continent began to change. In an instant, everything on the Zhenwu continent began to wither and rot. The towering tree was instantly transformed into dust. Rock too. The city too. Even people within range are the same. On this day, out of the billions of people in the Zhenwu continent, only a tiny bit is left." Her voice was very calm. However, Eorong had been suppressing his emotions the entire time, trying his best to not let himself collapse. His strength was too strong. You don't know how to face it because you're no match for him. It is just like comparing a person to the heavens. No matter how formidable you are, you're no match for him. In just a short day, the entire plain had disappeared, and now only the last of the magic mountain remained. Alone, however, as long as that decaying aura advanced another step, Magic Mountain would disappear from the Zhenwu continent in an instant. And at that time, Zhenwu continent would become a barren land, and not a single blade of grass would grow for 10,000 years. Long Fei was puzzled. What exactly happened? Isn't the golden armor elder sent by the gods tribe dead? Why did it become like this? Could it be, this time, the people sent by the gods tribe were not limited to just the two of them? Are there any other powerhouses? Long Fei secretly thought. He thought that it would be fine to kill the golden armor elder. But from the looks of it, it was far from over. He hated it too. One plane, billions of people were killed just like that. What was this called? This was truly tragic beyond compare. This was worse than an animal. Even if human lives were worthless, this was not how they were killed. Too cruel. It was also at this time. Eorong suddenly thought of something and said, "Could it be the old man from 3 days ago?" Long Fei immediately asked, "Who?" Eorong said, "When you were training in the wilderness, a purple-robed old man came here. He said that he will let you go to the immortal Cloud City to meet him when you return, and he even said that only he can help you solve your problem. Only he can save this world." When he thought about how the marble under the old man's feet had turned to dust the moment he left, Eorong became even more certain of his words. It must be him. He might be the elder and powerhouse sent by the gods tribe. Long Fei asked, "Immortal Cloud City?" Transformers said, "The Immortal Cloud City was gone a long time ago." Long Fei did not hesitate. The idea moved and directly flew into the yellow sand. Eorong's gaze tightened and also instantly pounced into the yellow sand as he loudly shouted, "Long Fei, wait for me. Rumble, rumble, rumble." The yellow sand violently swirled as the two of them instantly disappeared. Transformers wanted to follow along, but was stopped by Illusion. "Don't go any further. If you go too far, it will only become a burden for Long Fei." Immediately, Illusion said, "It doesn't matter whether that old man is powerhouse of God's tribe or not, and it doesn't matter whether Long Fei can deal with him. We also have our mission." As they spoke, Illusion looked at the chief captain and asked, "Didn't we find the entrance to the demon world? Let's go take a look together. The Zhenwu continent is bound to be destroyed. We have to open the entrance." Chief Captain also immediately said, "That's right, this is the only thing we can do for Long Fei. Everyone, follow me." In the void, a ball of flame flickered. From afar, it looked like a flickering fire lotus. In the next moment, he had appeared in another plane. The fire flashed again, and then he appeared in another plane, one step at a time. However, he was not satisfied. "Kid, you have to hold on. Don't let me come here for nothing. I'm already so fat. If you let me come here for nothing, then it would really be unbearable." Human Emperor. Of course, he was a fat man, a huge fat man. With one step, the flame was engulfed. The next second, it appeared in another plane. It was just that. The Zhenwu continent was the most remote place in the universal realm. It was impossible to reach there as soon as possible, and the human emperor's speed was already at the limits of the universal realm. The human emperor looked at the space above his head. The most distant place was the universal realm. At this moment, the destruction cannons of the heavenly palace were already prepared and aimed at the Zhenwu continent. As long as they fired their cannons, the Zhenwu continent would be instantly killed. The human emperor said solemnly, "You have to hold on. Kid, I don't want to make another mistake." He used all of his strength. Zhenwu continent. Inside the yellow sand, Long Fei and Yurong flew together. Yurong held Long Fei's hand tightly. She really did not want to take another step away from Long Fei. If Long Fei was going to die, she would definitely accompany him. Thus, this time, she did not hesitate to follow him to the Immortal Cloud City. The Immortal Cloud City is just right in front of us. It's just that it's now a flat land covered in yellow sand. Yurong faintly said. At this moment, the sound of an azure dragon resounded within the Immortal Cloud City. It was hoarse like the sound of sand choking its owner. "Kid, you finally arrived." Chapter 2674. Laozi is your ancestor. Chapter 2674. Laozi is your ancestor. You're finally here. A gloomy and hoarse voice rang out. At the same moment, a purple-robed elder's figure appeared in midair. A pile of yellow sand gushed out from beneath his feet. It was like a layer of earth beneath his feet. This scene, it made Long Fei think of the god of the desert. However, the elder of the desert god was nothing compared to him. When Long Fei looked at the old man, his first thought was that he was strong. Very strong. The aura emitted from his body was extremely different from the aura on the Golden Armor Elder. It was very different, as though he was a person from two different worlds. They were both from the descendant of God's tribe. Why was the difference in their cultivation so great? Moreover, he had single-handedly turned the entire plain into a desert. This power, what kind of power was this? Long Fei's mind was tranquil, and he said faintly, "You knew I would definitely come?" The purple-robed elder said, "You want to save your brother, you want to save your woman, you must come if you want to save Zhenwu continent." "I expected it," Long Fei said. "Aren't you afraid that I won't come?" The purple-robed elder said, "You won't." Long Fei asked with some doubt, "Why do you say that?" The purple-robed elder said, "Because your life will not allow these people to die in vain." Long Fei was silent for a moment, then asked, "Who are you? Why did you wait for me?" The purple-robed elder said, "Who I am is not important. The reason why I am waiting for you is naturally for the power of the ancient inheritance on your body. As long as you give me the power of the ancient inheritance, I will leave and this plane will be safe." "How is it?" After he finished speaking, the purple-robed elder looked at Long Fei. The triangular eyes were very gloomy. It was as if he could see through people's hearts. Being stared at like that was unbearable. Long Fei tried his best to remain calm and said, "Other than the things that you've said, I have another method that I can accomplish." The corner of the purple-robed elder's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a sneer. "What method?" Long Fei said, "I'll kill you." The purple-robed elder's expression didn't change. With a slight movement of his hands, the yellow sand on the ground quickly gushed out and dripped from the gaps between his fingers. He said, "You can try. I can give you a chance." Long Fei's eyes slightly tightened and said, "Try it." The purple-robed elder said, "I'll give you a chance." Before he could finish, Long Fei's chi suddenly exploded, and he bellowed, "Then let's try." Boom! With a flip of his left hand, the underworld fire moved and instantly locked onto him. "Buzz! Release him!" The underworld fire directly ignited on the purple-robed elder's body, but the damage floating above the purple-robed elder's head had turned out to be a series of English letters. Miss! 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 It didn't deal any damage. Dealing with the Golden Armor Elder would at least inflict a few digits of damage, but in front of this violet-robed elder, he couldn't even break through his defense. Underworld Fire's attack power was extremely strong. He had instantly killed the powerhouse of the true martial emperor and sea king. He couldn't even break through the defense. How strong was he? Long Fei's gaze tensed up. The purple-robed elder said, You don't even have the strength of the ancient inheritance to grasp the skin. People from lower realms like you are simply not qualified to obtain this kind of high-level inheritance. It's better to obediently hand over your strength." His words were filled with disdain. Earlier, his body hadn't moved at all, and he didn't use any defensive power. The underworld fire's attacks were useless against him. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, and he said, "What are you trying to say? People from the lower planes aren't qualified. Then you're qualified. You think someone like you is qualified to kill someone? A person like you who views human lives like grass?" Boom! As soon as the power in his mind activated, the power in his right arm suddenly erupted. Under his clothes, the surface of his skin used a huge amount of strength, and his scarlet-red dragon scales flashed. Boom! 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 The power continued to rumble. Clenching his right fist, Long Fei took a step forward. Boom! He was like a bullet that was shot out. In a split second, he was released, and he instantly appeared in front of the purple-robed elder. The purple-robed elder's eyes flickered slightly. Not bad. There are other powers as well. The punch landed. Boom! The purple-robed elder didn't even move as a trail of yellow sand gushed out. Long Fei's fist felt like it had been thrown into water. The power was instantly absorbed by the yellow sand. At the same time, the purple-robed elder was slightly shocked as he looked at Long Fei with curiosity and said, "This power? Not the super force of Ming Clan." Boom! Another punch. However, once again, he was absorbed into it. The old man stood there without moving at all. The yellow sand around him exploded around his body like shields. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, bang, bang. His fist flew out like a torrential storm. Every time he was blocked by the sand, the power of his fists would be absorbed by him in an instant. It was impossible for him to hit the purple-robed elder. The purple-robed elder didn't even move. He did not use any of his strength. However, his eyes were still staring at Long Fei with a serious expression. "This power of yours, your strength." Strangely, there was no trace of the super force of Ming Clan. But it's much stronger than the super force of Ming Clan. Moreover, this power is just the beginning. Could it be that you still have another source of ancient inheritance power? She stared at Long Fei. Long Fei's fists were going berserk as he attacked ferociously. However, it was still useless. The power on his fist was useless. Even if he released the power from the mark on his right arm, it would be useless. He couldn't even touch the corner of the purple-robed elder's clothes. How could he deal damage? The violet-robed elder was far too powerful. Golden Armor Elder and the purple-robed elder were on completely different levels. Long Fei's heart also became tighter and tighter. Huff! Suddenly, Long Fei retreated suddenly, his eyes staring at the purple-robed elder as he exhaled deeply. The purple-robed elder also stared at Long Fei and said slightly, "Why did you stop? I already said that you only have this one chance." The chi on Long Fei's body suddenly moved. At this moment, the purple-robed old man seemed to have thought of something, and his 5 fingers suddenly grabbed out. A surge of power landed on Long Fei's clothes and abruptly split it apart. At this moment, the blood-red scales on the surface of its skin were incomparably savage. The purple-robed old man's eyes immediately became tense. "Dragon Clan. You? Blood Dragon. Who are you?" Also at this moment, the dragon scales on Long Fei's right arm fiercely exploded as his sleeves ignited, and he threw out a punch. Roar! The dragon roared as the air trembled. Power was also particularly fierce. In that instant, Long Fei gave a heavy shout and said angrily, "I am your ancestor." Chapter 2675, The Big Fatty. Chapter 2675, The Big Fatty. The draconic scales exploded. Long Fei's right arm was like a dragon arm. The fist was covered in a bloody mist. Twisting. Fierce. It suddenly exploded and a heavy punch landed. In that instant, the purple-robed elder suddenly thought of something. His eyes turned sinister as his eyes became even more excited. At the same time, The yellow sand was withdrawn. Long Fei punched down. Strangely, the purple-robed old man did not dodge the fist. Instead, he forcibly withstood it. Boom! The energy shock wave exploded outwards, enveloping the entire Zhenwu continent and causing the entire plain to tremble. It shook violently. At this moment, the purple-robed old man was also blasted downwards. It crashed to the ground. The ground sank. The surrounding 10,000 kilometers instantly caved in. A powerful shock wave also swept up from the ground. His strength soared to the heavens. They continued to spread out before finally joining together with the energy shock waves in the sky. It was as if the sky and earth had fused together. Yirong looked at Long Fei in shock. After a few days of not seeing him, Long Fei had become strong again. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Wave after wave of power blasted out, causing the void to shatter and rumble. In the deep pit, there was no aura. Due to the earlier attack being too fast, Long Fei did not immediately see the numbers that floated above the purple-robed elder's head, nor did he see the amount of blood that floated above his head. But there was one thing that Long Fei could confirm. The violet-robed old man wasn't dead, because the system did not sound. While he's sick, take his life. Since his punch had landed, he definitely could not give him the chance to get up again. Long Fei's body dropped. He rushed straight into the deep pit, and with a slight movement of his aura, he crushed the rolling sand into the pit, where the purple-robed old man laid. His clothes were torn apart. It revealed a skeletal body. He was like a dried-up corpse. Blood dripped from his forehead. It looked very ferocious. Seeing Long Fei rushing down from midair, the corners of the purple-robed elder's lips curled up slightly as he laughed sinisterly. Ha ha ha, ha ha. Unexpectedly, really unexpectedly. Even in my dreams, I would never have thought that other than having the inheritance power of the Ming clan, you would have another higher-level inheritance power. Blood-red dragon scales. It's even more powerful than the super force of Ming clan. Then there's only one possibility. You are Long Fei. After he finished speaking, a glimmer flashed in the eyes of the purple-robed elder as he stared at the approaching Long Fei. He said slowly, "You are Long Fei, the one who was messing with guillotine 100 years ago. Am I right?" Haha. Long Fei didn't know what a guillotine was. He didn't know what power was beneath his right arm. After hearing all that the old man had said, Long Fei asked, "So what if I know?" The purple-robed old man laughed lightly and said, "I didn't think that you would still be alive. Even when Emperor Xian personally attacked, he still didn't kill you. But your life can only end here." Long Fei said solemnly, "I still don't know whose life is." The power in his right arm exploded out. With the blood-colored dragon scales and the dragon's roar that appeared from under his skin, Long Fei unleashed his strongest power at this moment. It struck heavily towards the purple-robed elder in the deep pit. Crack, crack, crack. Space itself began to crack and shatter. Layer after layer, red flames burned on Long Fei's right fist as he roared and roared in the air. The violet-robed elder laughed coldly. "Fur, that's not right. To be exact, you haven't even released the skin power of the ancient inheritance. If you can control 1% of its power, I might not even be a match for you." What a pity! What a pity! It's a pity that you don't know how powerful you are, and you don't know how to release them, so you have no right to them at all. I'll let you know what the power of the ancient inheritance is. Then, the violet-robed old man made a grasping motion with his hands, and then, all that was left of his hands was darkness, as if he was afflicted with necrotic disease. The plague was spreading like crazy. After a moment, purplish-black spatial fragments appeared to his left and right. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The violet-robed old man's body straightened, and he waved his hands. 2 large pieces of purplish-black void fragments shot towards Long Fei. Boom! The punch shattered. Boom! Another fist shattered. Could he not block it? Or was it intentional? The purple-robed elder laughed sinisterly and said, "I already said, you don't even know what the power of the ancient inheritance is. A fiendish look appeared on his forehead. His aura exploded. Immediately after, the purple-colored spatial fragments that were shattered by Long Fei exploded in the sky, and also happened in an instant. Boom! The sky was decaying. A huge piece of decaying sky rumbled on Long Fei like a rock. Boom! Boom! Rumble! Bang! 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 Long Fei crazily jumped and dodged, but those square blocks in the sky were too big, and the entire sky was collapsing, so even with his speed, he wouldn't be able to dodge. In the blink of an eye, those cubes in the sky immediately surrounded Long Fei. Just like a magic cube, Long Fei was trapped to death in the center. The purple-robed elder laughed softly. How strong is my ancient inheritance? I'll tell you, the ancient inheritance is the power of this world. The universal boundary and even the universal realm-s are born from the ancient world, and every strand of the ancient inheritance's power is a part of this world. Once you completely grasp this world's power, you will be able to control it. My ancient inheritance. Rot. I can even rot the sky. What do you think? Haha. However, from today onwards, I will be adding 2 more ancient inheritance powers. The purple-robed elder slowly floated up and looked at Long Fei, who was in the middle of the square. He laughed sinisterly. Your power will soon be mine, huh? As long as I obtain your power, then I can become an overlord of a region and become the #1 person under the Emperor Xian. Huh? As he laughed maniacally, the purple-robed elder's 10 fingers flashed with a decaying light. Yurong anxiously replied, Long Fei. Long Fei immediately said, Don't come over. Don't come over here. Yurong couldn't save him. Moreover, the purple-robed elder was simply too strong. He wasn't a match for him at all. The power of the ancient inheritance. Long Fei still did not know how to cultivate. No matter how strong the power of the ancient inheritance he possessed was, he did not know how to use it. Ha ha ha, kid, your power is mine now. The purple-robed old man thrust his hands into the magic cube. It was also at this time. A huge fatty fell from the sky. Chapter 2676. Everything's gone. Chapter 2676. Everything's gone. A huge hole was made in the sky by the decaying power of the purple-robed elder. These large holes trapped Long Fei like a layer of sky. However, it just so happened, a person suddenly fell from the sky through a large hole. A huge fatty. However, the purple-robed elder had yet to realize that all of his attention was on Long Fei yet. 2 strands of ancient inheritance's power, and they were both at the initial stage. In other words, as long as he could absorb these 2 energies, it would be his. Thinking of this, the purple-robed old man couldn't help but feel excited. Yi Zichen moved his hands. He fiercely inserted it into the magic cube and solemnly said, Give me your strength. Ha ha. Crazy absorption. And at this moment, countless streaks of lightning flashed out of the magic cube and directly connected onto Long Fei's body. It was densely packed. Long Fei's entire body was filled with lightning. It was a powerful absorption force. Yurong's pupils tightened as he shouted loudly, Long Fei. At this moment, Yurong did not care about that. His body moved, directly transforming into a huge dark phoenix, and his completely black body fiercely rushed towards the purple-robed elder. The violet-robed elder didn't pay any attention to him. A streak of yellow sand directly knocked Yurong flying. Yurong pounced again, but it was the same. It was impossible for him to get close. He was instantly sent flying by the yellow sand. Long Fei was in unbearable pain. Every single bolt of lightning linked onto every single piece of dragon scales on his body, and all the energy on his body was frantically being absorbed. It wasn't painful. The pain he felt was that when he saw Yurong being sent flying, the anger in his heart soared to the skies. F***CK, your ancestors. His strength was also constantly being released. However, the more he unleashed his power, the more he resisted, the more the power in his body dissipated. The Ming clan mark on his left arm trembled. The space seemed to be collapsing. He couldn't take it at all. The purple-robed old man laughed crazily in a sinister manner. Kid, the more you resist, the more you struggle, and the faster your power will be lost. Ha ha ha. You're everything. Everything in your body is mine. Ha ha. The power you cultivate, the cultivation method you cultivate, the soul treasure on your body. Everything is mine. Ha ha ha. In a massive sky magic cube, Long Fei's entire body was firmly trapped by the lightning, unable to move at all. Moreover, the Sky Demon Cube was a massive array formation. He was frantically absorbing the energy from Long Fei's body. Ding! System notification. Fairy from Heaven Sword Art has disappeared. Ding! System notification. Illusion Berserk Slash has disappeared. Ding! System notification. 1 million Grand Mist crystals have disappeared. Ding! System notification. The Underworld Thunder has disappeared. One after another, notifications began to ring like crazy. His cultivation technique was disappearing crazily in his cultivation technique column, completely out of his control. Not only that, the treasures within Long Fei's space ring were also disappearing crazily and were completely absorbed by the purple-robed elder. Furthermore, all of these things were directly transformed into energy within the Sky Magic Cube and were absorbed by the purple-robed elder. The spirit treasure within the space ring was trembling. The Nantian monument was trembling. The dragon's soul fragment was trembling. The 72 space ring trembled. The Ming clan's mark was trembling. The underworld fire was trembling. Long Fei's fused power, the cultivation method she grasped, was being quickly stripped away, and he was unable to control it as he used it. Ha ha ha! Brat, this is the power of ancient inheritance. Do you understand? Ha ha ha! This is the power that you do not understand. Ha! It's all mine. Everything on you is mine. When the purple-robed elder absorbed the power in Long Fei's body, he became even more berserk. He did not expect Long Fei to have cultivated so many high-level techniques as well as various powerful spirit treasures. Ding! System notification. The sun-killing arrow has disappeared. Ding! System notification. Absorbing skill has disappeared. The system beep continued to ring. Long Fei's heart was weeping blood. If he wanted to control them, it was like grabbing the water in his hands. He grabbed upwards with all his might, but all of them were lost, completely out of Long Fei's control. At the same time, the pain that Long Fei's entire body was in was indescribable. That kind of bone-shattering, that kind of body-tearing bit by bit, as if tens of thousands of cannibal fish were biting him. His cultivation technique was disappearing, his strength was disappearing, and his cultivation base was also disappearing. If this continued, Long Fei would be directly sucked to death. System, damn you, don't you have any solution? Can there be a way? Damn you, you can't just watch me die. If I die, you will also disappear. Your designer shouldn't want to see me disappear, right? Long Fei had no other choice. All of his strength had been bound. Buzz! Just at that moment, the sky sword suddenly floated up. It started to collide with the space ring. Long Fei's heart tensed up. No, 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 no. The sky sword had accompanied him the moment he had transmigrated to the Zhenwu continent. It was about to fly out right now. Long Fei had promised her that he would save her. It was also at this time. The Supreme Dragon Knife also floated up. Boom! They also started to crazily ram into the space ring, as if they couldn't control it either. The 72 space ring also floated up. The cultivation technique column had already been emptied. He no longer had any cultivation techniques. Long Fei did not care about the lack of cultivation methods, but he definitely could not lose them in the Sky Sword S. Otherwise, how could he save the Sky Sword spirit? Long Fei. Yurong was unable to attack the purple-robed old man, so she began to attack the Sky Magic Cube. A heavy blow. However, don't catapult away the moment she rushes over. Seeing Long Fei's painful expression, Yurong did not want to live. She was ready when she came. If Long Fei died, she would accompany him. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, and power surged through him. Boom! The supreme dragon knife flew out. Ding! System notification. The supreme dragon knife has disappeared. F***CK. Long Fei gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. A huge amount of power surged into the purple-robed elder's body. The purple-robed elder's face was flushed red as he said excitedly, The existence of super artifact S. There is actually such a soul treasure in your body. However, I'm not far from the power of the ancient inheritance. Boom! Ding! System notification. The sky sword has disappeared. F***CK. In my ass. Hink your system's maternal grandma. Long Fei watched as the sky sword uncontrollably flew out. In an instant, it transformed into a stream of energy that was absorbed by the purple-robed elder. The space ring also flew out one by one. He couldn't hold on any longer. Long Fei was unable to hold on. An elder from the God's tribe was controlling the power of the ancient inheritance. The purple-robed elder was too strong. Moreover, when his cultivation reached the peak level of ancient inheritance, Long Fei's strength was not his opponent at all. Just as Long Fei was about to give up, the sky suddenly exploded. A fat man had shattered the sky magic cube. Chapter 2677, Human Emperor. Chapter 2677, Human Emperor Walala. The Sky Demon Cube shattered. Crash. Asterisk, it was like shards of glass falling to the ground. At this moment, the purple-robed elder's body suddenly sank, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. His entire body exploded outwards like a remnant thread. Huff! The magic cube shattered, and those chains of lightning also disappeared. Long Fei exhaled a deep breath, his body sinking down, and his entire body dropping down from the sky. There was no aura from his entire body. There was only a tiny bit of health left. Even the spring of life had stopped circulating. Long Fei fell from midair and instantly flew over. The big fatty was indeed the Human Emperor. The Human Emperor looked at Long Fei, who had fallen into the air. His brows tightened and said solemnly, "Is it still too late?" Just as he was about to fly towards Long Fei, the corners of his eyes twitched. A streak of purplish-black lightning charged towards the Human Emperor. The Human Emperor's eyes turned sinister. With a wave of his right hand, a ball of fire burst forth and struck the black lightning with his palm. Rumble! One slap was like a layer of heaven. The black bolt of lightning was instantly extinguished, and a black figure smashed into the ground. Boom! The ground split open for tens of thousands of meters, and the purple-robed elder in the deep pit was covered in blood. His face was pale, and with his mummified body, he looked even more unsightly. Boom! The purple-robed old man was panting heavily as he stared at the sky and said, "Human Emperor." The fat guy said, "You still know me?" The purple-robed elder said, "You dare to go against the God's tribe?" The fat man said, "It's not the first time that I've gone against the God's tribe. This old man has worked with the God's tribe for tens of thousands of years. Have I ever been afraid of one?" The purple-robed elder's gaze tightened. "Human Emperor, this person is extraordinary. Today, I must kill him. If you dare to stop me, Emperor Xian will definitely not let you go." Indeed, the Human Emperor had been fighting with the God's tribe. However, all these years, the God's tribe did not even put him in their eyes, and only had a few clan elders. But even these few clan elders were too much for him, causing him to continuously retreat. If Emperor Xian makes a move, one palm was enough to crush his human royal island into dust. The Emperor Xian was too strong. Even if the Human Emperor cultivated for another trillion years, he still wouldn't be a match for the Human Emperor. However, the Human Emperor had never submitted, and he did not like being threatened. The fat man said, "Threatening me? If you have the guts, try touching him again." The purple-robed elder's eyes narrowed. "Do you have to interfere?" The fat guy said, "I was just interfering. What about it?" From the corner of his eyes, He looked at Long Fei, who was bleeding all over. Yurong hugged her tightly. She was crying like a tearman right now. At this moment, Long Fei was also on the verge of death, but the pain on his body was not the most fatal of them all. Countless cultivation techniques. Gone. Nothing. Everything that he had possessed was suddenly nothing. This feeling was like falling from heaven to hell, an unbearable pain. The purple-robed elder said indifferently, "You and I both know what kind of power that brat has in his body. 2 ancient inheritance and the ancient martial arts. We will split it evenly, and I believe that once we obtain his power, you'll be able to recover your position as the overlord of the universal realm. And I can give some compensation to the god tribe as well." How is it? The power of the ancient inheritance was too enticing. The strongest power in the universal realm was the power of the ancient inheritance. To the powerhouse, if they could get an additional strand of ancient inheritance power, they would have absolute authority in the universal realm. Other than the Emperor Xian, very few people had the power to wield 2 more ancient inheritances. Then again, the 2 ancient inheritances in Long Fei's body were simply too powerful. Anyone who trained to the peak of this path would be able to destroy the heavens and the earth. The purple-robed old man made such a condition. Ordinary people would definitely not be able to resist it. The human emperor's heart was slightly moved. It was too tempting. However, the fat man's mind went wild. "Aren't you thinking too beautifully?" The purple-robed elder said. "Don't tell me you want to keep it for yourself. Human emperor, you cannot be too greedy. If you obtain all the power, as long as I tell the Emperor Xian, how long do you think you can live? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days? He can't do it anymore. The power in his body, his cultivation technique, and spirit treasure are all gone. Now, only the 2 ancient inheritances are left. The 2 of us will each have 1. You left, I right. How is it? The left side has the inheritance of power from the ancient Ming clan. The left side has the inheritance of power from the ancient Ming clan." The purple-robed elder spoke crazily. He believed that no one could resist the temptation of the Ming clan's power, especially the powerhouse of the universal realm. The human emperor had been trampled on by the god's tribe all his life, so people like him thirsted for more power. The human emperor's fire legacy that he had mastered could not even contend against the god's tribe. If he had another ancient inheritance that ranked in the top 10, his cultivation would increase by leaps and bounds. The title Human Emperor made the universal boundary feel reverence once again, an irresistible temptation. The human emperor's heart began to tremble as well. Boom! The flames beneath the human emperor's feet started to move. The flames beneath his feet started to ignite the devilish intent that had grown in his heart into ashes. Pucci. Blood dripped from the corner of the human emperor's mouth. Heavily wounded. The consequences are serious. But if he didn't do this, the human emperor himself didn't dare guarantee that he would be able to resist the temptation. After all, he yearned for power too much. He truly desired the power of the powerful ancient inheritance. Always being crushed, always being suppressed. He was really afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself. The purple-robed elder's eyes darkened and the corner of his mouth curled into a sneer. He said, "You are so ruthless. You dare to use such a heavy attack on yourself. Demon intent has already formed in your mind. You know very well that you want this brat's strength." The human emperor said, "You are right, I did want it at the beginning, but now I don't think about it all." The purple-robed elder said, "Human emperor, you don't need it, I want it." Schwan. The purple-robed elder suddenly charged forward. The human emperor's eyes grew sinister as he asked, "Do you think you can touch him?" The purple-robed elder said solemnly, "If you dare to stop me, the entire god tribe will not let you go." The human emperor coldly said, "You can't go back. How does god tribe know about what is happening here?" The purple-robed elder said, "You want to kill me?" The human emperor said, "Your answer is correct. I want to kill you." Boom! With an explosive sound, the purple-robed old man, while the 2 of them were fighting. Yurong held Long Fei, looked at the incomparably weak Long Fei, and said gently, "No matter where you go, I will always accompany you. If you die, I will also die with you." While they were talking, Eorong heavily hugged and kissed Long Fei's pale lips. At this moment, a system announcement rang out in Long Fei's mind. Ding! Chapter 2678, Mysterious Strength of the System Reward. Chapter 2678, Mysterious Strength of the System Reward. A heavy kiss. Tears rolled down his pale face. Tears seeped into Long Fei's cheeks. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the super quest 7 Meridians painting, Life and Death Accompanied. Ding! Congratulations player Long Fei for completing 1/7 of the quest. You have received the mystical power. Do you wish to fuse it? Ding! System notification. The mysterious power has been successfully fused. Without even needing Long Fei to give any orders, the system had already fused the mysterious ability into Long Fei's body. Very strange. At this time, even if Long Fei's mind was completely clear, he probably wouldn't be able to give out any orders. Just as the fusion of the system's reward of mysterious power was completed, a power that looked like the power of Seal suddenly erupted from Long Fei's right arm. Roar! The dragon's roar shook. In that instant, bloody light filled the skies, enveloping the entire region. How big was the world? Covering dozens of planes around the borders of the universal realm. In an instant, the scorching sun turned blood red, the sky turned blood red, the yellow sand turned blood red, and a bloody mist enveloped the earth. The whole scene was just like the Scarlet Moon mode in the game. Blood purgatory. What is this? The purple-robed old man's body sank into the ground, and he flew tens of thousands of meters away. He looked at the blood mist and the blood-red sun, and his forehead tightened. He had never seen anything like this before. He had never felt such power before. The human emperor was the same. His eyes were also tightly creased. He knew that Long Fei's identity was special, but how special was it? What exactly was the reason behind him obtaining the power of the ancient inheritance? No one in the entire universal realm knew. Even the Emperor Xian didn't know. The only person who knew of this power was himself. Of course, this was something that he had learned during his first life in Ancient World. Even the current Long Fei didn't know what kind of power this was. The human emperor said lightly, "What a dense qi. This power. I've never seen it before." It was strange. It was as if he was a chess piece within his aura. A chess piece that is not under his control. As long as the chess player idea moved, they would charge forward to kill it no matter what. Gudong. The purple-robed old man swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He looked at the human emperor and said, "Human emperor, that boy's strength has been used to protect its master. Even after exploding, there is still a rush. How about this? You want the power on the right, and I want the power on the left. The two ancient inheritances are both peak-level ancient inheritances. What's the point in fighting them to the death? What's more, you are already heavily injured from slaying the devil will. If you continue to fight, you might not win against me." The purple-robed elder stared at the unconscious Long Fei. The greed in his heart was burning, completely dominated, especially when he saw such a powerful protective power erupt from Long Fei's body. He was unable to control it even more. The human emperor shouted, "Stop dreaming! This power doesn't belong to you, nor does it belong to me." Humph! The purple-robed elder's eyes turned vicious as he took out a magic tool from under his sleeve. "Chua, you stubborn pig, talking to you is a waste of my time. You don't want it. I want it." One sword to break through the void. Buzz! His entire body disappeared. In the blink of an eye, it also landed on top of Eorong's head. With its 5 fingers, it grabbed towards Long Fei's head like a ghost and shouted, "Ancient inheritance corruption. Drink it. Don't even think about touching half of his hair. Ancient inheritance. Human emperor's fire." Boom! A flame burst out from the human emperor's body. The flame rushed out and engulfed the purple-robed old man. The flame was like a blooming lotus flower. It was extremely powerful. However, the purple-robed old man curled his lips and sneered. Heavenly escape armor. Hidden. His aura moved, and the vicious old man in purple suddenly disappeared. The human emperor's eyes narrowed as he cried out inwardly, "Crap!" The human emperor's fire missed. The air ruptured as the purple-robed elder appeared in front of the back of Long Fei's head from the other side. His eyes were filled with wild excitement. "Ha ha ha! Human emperor, you can't stop me." He made a grasping motion with his 5 fingers. Like 5 steel nails, they instantly grabbed on a Long Fei's head. He jabbed with his fingernail. Crack! All 5 fingers pierced into Long Fei's head. The purple-robed elder became even more excited. It's all mine. All of my power is mine. Drink it." The purple-robed elder was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. He was now just a step away from obtaining the ancient inheritance on Long Fei's body, and only needed to absorb its power. He knew the power of the ancient inheritance in Long Fei's body was extremely strong. Thus, this time, he used all his strength to release his strongest power and sucked out Long Fei's ancient inheritance in the shortest amount of time. Eorong's eyes did not move, as if he was dead. After she embraced and kissed him, Long Fei's body slowly became ice cold. She knew Long Fei was dead. She didn't want to live anymore either. When the human emperor saw the purple-robed elder stab his finger into Long Fei's head, his eyes turned sinister. "Be careful." Too late. Too late. The purple-robed old man laughed crazily. His dried-up hands started to move. Wave after wave of powerful energy frantically rushed out and entered Long Fei's body. And then, in this instant, the power of the purple-robed elder seemed to have taken root within Long Fei's body. Then, with a violent suction, everything in Long Fei's body began to shake. Ha! Ha ha! My! As the power began to circulate, the purple-robed elder could already feel it. At this time, no one could stop him. If he was interrupted, Long Fei's death would be even more tragic. At this time, all the human emperor could do was stand there and watch. This feeling was even worse than killing him. The fat on his body, which weighed more than 400 jin, trembled. The human emperor's chi even caused the top of his head to emit smoke. But just as the purple-robed elder was about to absorb the ancient inheritance's energy from Long Fei's body, the originally still or dead Long Fei's eyes suddenly snapped open. Buzz! A flash of light. The pupils of his eyes abruptly changed as the blood vessels slowly condensed within them. It turned into a bloody pupil. At this moment, a frown appeared on his forehead and his eyes narrowed. Absorb my power? Your king tired of living. Boom! At this moment, the purple-robed old man's pupils contracted. His body began to rapidly tremble, and he couldn't stop trembling. He wanted to pull out his palm, but he discovered that he was firmly sucked in. It was clearly him trying to absorb Long Fei's power. But now turn all over. The power from the purple-robed elder's body began to be crazily sucked into Long Fei's body, including the techniques he had taken away from Long Fei earlier, the energy that the holy artifact had transformed into. Table of Contents. Table of Contents, let go. Let go. Hurry and let go. Let me go. Let me go. The purple-robed old man started to wail like ghosts and howl like wolves. His entire body started to tremble. The energy, cultivation, chi, techniques, spirit treasures, all started to surge out from his body like a torrent. The speed was outrageously fast. You want to suck me in? Come on, take another sip. Lousy will let you finish. Long Fei suddenly stood up. The spirit chi around his body seemed to become like a king in the Scarlet World. That kind of arrogant and domineering aura. Those cold and proud eyes. The world of the paragons. Eorong was stunned. Looking at Long Fei suddenly felt very strange. It was as if he had never seen it before. The expression in the human emperor's eyes darkened as he looked at Long Fei's bloodshot eyes and asked, how did you become? Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei glared at him. Scram. Boom! A powerful aura of blood surged out and directly collided with the human emperor's body. The human emperor's body caved in, and his body that weighed several hundred jin was sent flying, rolling on the ground like a ball of meat. Bang, bang, bang. Thousands of meters away, the human emperor spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at Long Fei. This power, he didn't even have time to react, let alone block it. If not for the fact that he still had the power of the ancient inheritance to protect him, this gaze would have instantly killed him. The human emperor was shocked. What exactly is the power of the ancient inheritance? I've never seen it before. It had never appeared in the universal realm. New power? That's not right. There was only one strand of power in his body, and that was the power the Dragon Clan's powerhouse had poured into his body and had sent out so many Dragon Clan patriarchs to protect him. It was simply impossible for it to be a new power. What kind of power is that? Long Zhanting. Oh, right. Only he and this brat's Mother Mu Wanner knows. The human emperor slowly stood up. He did not dare lightly approach, as the current Long Fei was no longer the Long Fei from before. The powerful strength in his body. The rage was burning crazily. Right now, Long Fei seemed to have fallen into a berserk state. His spiritual sense was the current power. Go ahead, you King, sucked lousy away again. Absorb your father. How many guts do you have? Long Fei roared. The aura on his body ignited with scarlet flames. The dragon scales on his right arm seemed like they were about to fly out. The dragon-shaped mark on his right arm was also incomparably sinister. The heavenly Tao escape armor had been absorbed. The purple-robed elder's body continued to tremble rapidly. Let me go, let go. I need to hurry up and let go of me. I'm the presbyter of God's tribe. If you dare kill me, God's tribe will not let you go. Master Emperor Xian will not let you go. Long Fei revealed a look of disdain. What is a God's tribe? Emperor Xian, is that pussy again? When Laozi ran rampant in ancient times, he was still not born in his mother's womb. The aura on his body was overwhelming. The purple-robed old man's spirit was starting to crack, and his consciousness was unable to take it anymore. He said, "Killing me is making the entire God's tribe your enemy. Brat, you have to think carefully about the consequences. If you dare to kill me, anyone who is related to you will die. This plane will die, and that devil realm of yours will die too. Your dragon race will also die." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei's eyes moved. He raised his right leg, and with a powerful kick, he pushed the purple-robed elder down to the ground. Bam! The violet-robed old man coughed up a mouthful of blood. Long Fei's right hand moved as he held onto a few strands of the purple-robed elder's white hair and coldly said, "You King threaten me, your father?" Zhang Xian exerted all of the strength in his body. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The power in the purple-robed elder's body became even more ferocious as it frantically sucked away the power from his body. His expression changed. "No, no, no. My ancient inheritance's power, no, no. Lord, I beg of you, please don't. No, don't absorb the power of my ancient inheritance, no." Boom. The purple-robed elder had truly turned into a dried-up corpse. Moreover, in this instant, with a tug of Long Fei's strength, the purple-robed old man's head was snapped off. With a stomp of his foot, the old man's head crumbled and said sinisterly, "This is the result of threatening me." In Long Fei's mind, the system sounded out. However, Long Fei didn't care about it. Instead, he raised his eyes slightly, stared straight at the human emperor in the distance, and said coldly, "Another strand of the ancient inheritance's power. Another piece of trash. I really wonder why ancient world nurtured and gave birth to such a power." The human emperor's gaze tensed up, and he immediately replied, "Long Fei." "Oh, you even know my name?" Long Fei looked at the human emperor and said, "Since you know my name, then you're either my little brother or my enemy." "That's not right. My enemies have all been killed by me. Are you my little brother?" "That's not right. Every single one of my brothers are 10,000 times stronger than you. You don't even have the qualifications to be my little brother. How could I have a damn fatty like you? Right. Where is my heaven pillar? What about the 8 heaven pillar? Long Fei swept a glance across the place and discovered that this world was a little strange. The human emperor didn't understand a single word that Long Fei said. Little brother, what heaven pillar were 8 of them? He had never seen it before. However, the human emperor said anxiously, Long Fei, wake up. Don't let this power control you. Without waiting for the human emperor to finish speaking, Long Fei glared at him again. Boom! The human emperor retreated back for tens of thousands of meters as a blood skeleton appeared in his chest. They couldn't even withstand a single glance from Long Fei. The human emperor crawled up from the ground and said, Long Fei, wake up a bit. You are Long Fei, the son of Long Zhanting and her. Don't let anyone control your mind. Damn fatty, are you courting death? Long Fei's figure moved. He landed right in front of the human emperor and said coldly, I am an ancient evolution, without a mother or father. How can my parents be them? Humph, you look tired of living. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, arrogant, domineering. Table of contents. In his eyes, everything was trash. Any words that displeased him, he would kill. It was also at this time. Eorong shouted loudly, Long Fei. Long Fei turned his head slightly to look at Eorong, and his gaze tensed up. What's wrong? Do you want to stop me? The idea moved. Boom! The blood-red power within his body exploded forth. The human emperor was floating, and Eorong was also floating. He was being covered by the blood-red energy, and the moment moved, they would be turned to powder. Haha, no one can stop me from doing what I want to do. It doesn't matter if it's the heavens or the earth. Don't even think of stopping me by half a step. Long Fei said arrogantly. However, the act was not finished. Long Fei's eyes darkened as he stared at the Nantian monument floating above his head. He muttered, damned repression of boundary stones. Chapter 2680, Suppression. Chapter 2680, Suppression, damn it. You follow me wherever I go. Do you think I owe you something in my lifetime? Long Fei's bloodshot eyes looked up into the sky, where the Nantian monument was quietly floating. He didn't move at all. However, at this time, Long Fei did not dare to move. He knows what the power of the Nantian monument is. To him, this broken rock was like a knife hanging over his head. If he randomly moved it, the knife would fall. As the blade fell, the head was severed. Long Fei was fearless, but he had to restrain himself a little before the Nantian monument. Hey, brother, I'm not moving. You're not moving. Say, why do you always follow me? Do I owe you money? Long Fei squinted and ridiculed. He looked at the human emperor, his eyes still filled with contempt. He did not want to waste words with anyone. He also didn't want anyone to talk nonsense with him. The thing that annoyed him was very simple. Directly exterminate. Who is the human emperor? I don't know. However, the human emperor knew his name. If the person who knew his name wasn't his little brother, then he might as well go die. The reason was simple. He never needed a reason to kill. The Nantian monument floated in the air motionlessly. Long Fei continued to speak. How many years have you suppressed me? Aren't you tired? How about this? I'll put you on top of the ancient sacred mountain, where you can absorb the ancient era's essence, and you can train from a piece of rock to a person. Don't bother me, okay? Long Fei continued. The Nantian monument still did not move. It was as if he was a person looking at him silently without saying anything. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as a yes. Then it's settled. Don't stop me. Finished. Long Fei looked at the human emperor again, and out of the corner of his eyes, he also looked at Eorong. In an instant, the two of them were lifted up by a powerful force. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up, and he said, "Ha!" not waiting for his aura to explode. The Nantian monument disappeared into the air. However, Long Fei's eyes tightened as he scolded heavily. Your sister? Rumble, 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 bang! With a loud noise, the sky split apart and a ray of light shot down from the sky. At the same time, that piece of Nantian monument also descended, not giving Long Fei any time to react. Moreover, the instant the Nantian monument disappeared, Long Fei knew that something bad was about to happen. Even from the moment the Nantian monument appeared, Long Fei knew that this guy would definitely not let him off easily. Universal boundary. In the countless dimensions of the ancient world, this broken stone was Long Fei's only nemesis. Fuck your ancestors. Long Fei raised his middle finger toward the sky. The Nantian monument suppressed down and directly smashed onto the top of his head. Buzz. Rumble. Long Fei's body sank. The ground within a radius of 1,000 kilometers caved in, causing sand and sand to fly everywhere. It was as if the world had come to an end. The Nantian monument landed heavily on Long Fei's back. Just from its appearance alone, Long Fei looked like the legendary BB. However, it would be too embarrassing if she just wanted to compare it with Long Fei. F***CK. I haven't even been on stage for 10 minutes. It's not fun at all. The bloodshot look in Long Fei's eyes disappeared bit by bit as he muttered to the Nantian monument on his back. Just you wait. There will be a day when I smash you into pieces. Just you wait, father. Boom. As Long Fei spoke, the power on the Nantian monument exploded once again. It was as though he was enraged. Long Fei's body sunk down once again. He was really unable to get up, and his entire body was buried in the mud. The blood veins in his eyes had completely disappeared. At this time, the human emperor and Yurong flew over from the sky. Yurong did not care about all that. She did not care who Long Fei was, nor did she care who the terrifying person was in Long Fei's body. She only knew that he was Long Fei. That's all you need to know. She quickly ran up and picked Long Fei up, hugged him tightly against her chest, and looked at his pale face. Long Fei, don't die. Don't die. Please don't die. We don't have a bridal ceremony yet, and I haven't even become your wife. Please don't die, okay? Can you not leave me behind? Please, don't die. Eorong's tears could not be stopped. She had not accompanied Long Fei properly throughout the entire journey, and she was now filled with regret. She regretted every one of her decisions back then. She regretted not accompanying Long Fei properly. The human emperor stood at the side. His eyes stared blankly. His heart was in turmoil, and he was extremely shocked. He knew from the very beginning that Long Fei was not simple. He was regarded as the last hope of the dragon race. The crystals of Long Zhanting and Muwaner. Furthermore, he channeled a surge of power into his body. No one knew what this power was. However, 100 years ago, the Dragon Clan's hope had been shattered, was suppressed by the Emperor Xian. With the help of the Emperor Xian, who could still live, everyone thought that he had died, including the Emperor Xian himself. But now, just now, the ancient inheritance's presbyter of God's tribe was instantly killed and turned into a dried-up corpse. He also felt the power. Irreversible. Compared to his power, the human emperor felt that he was the sky, while he himself was just a small ant. This was the feeling of such a huge difference. But what was the power that erupted from Long Fei's body just now? He didn't know it all. He had never seen such power before. Could the Emperor Xian do it? Now that the force had disappeared, Long Fei fell into a coma, and the human emperor had fallen into a daze. Was Long Fei going to save him? This is a very important question. He had saved Long Fei, but if he turned into that state again, not to mention him, even all of Universal Realm S wouldn't be enough to kill him. Would he become a homicidal maniac? Would such a person be saved? The human emperor couldn't help but think about it, because just now, Long Fei did not even let his woman go. That Long Fei was too brutal, and once he was released, no one would be able to stop him. Yurong looked at the human emperor and said, "Can you save him? Can you save him? I beg you. Please." Yurong immediately knelt down towards the human emperor. The human emperor looked at Yurong, who was crying so hard that he looked like he was about to cry. Even if something bad happens, this blame will fall upon the entire ancient world. And if the power in his body were to explode, he Who could block it? A great clan of the ancient world? God's tribe? All of them were crushed to death by him. Haha. The order of the world hasn't changed in 1,000,000,000 years. It's about time to change, isn't it? While they were talking, the human emperor in front of him moved his right hand, and a pellet appeared in his palm. With a light movement, the elixir turned into liquid and directly flowed into Long Fei's body from his mouth. What did it drop? What did it drop? A few minutes passed. Long Fei's expression turned slightly better, but he did not wake up. The human emperor didn't understand. There's no reason. This is my best pill. It's impossible to save him. Eorong said, "Is the medicinal power not enough? Can you give him another pill?" Eorong was still very worried. The human emperor said, "That won't do. His body is currently unable to withstand too many of these high-grade pills. If another one were to come, his physical body would explode." It was, after all, a high-ranked pellet of the universal realm. This was because Long Fei's body was special. Otherwise, the pill would have been able to cause his body to explode. Eorong said, "Then what do we do? Will he be saved? How did this happen?" "Long Fei, don't die. As long as you don't die, I'll do whatever you want me to do." Eorong choked with sobs. At this moment, Long Fei took a deep breath and said, "You're the one who said that. You can do anything you want." Huh? Eorong stared blankly. Looking at Long Fei, who was in his embrace, he smiled through his tears and said, "You're finally awake. You're awake." Hugging Long Fei tightly in his embrace. A stomp on the chest. The human emperor heaved a sigh of relief as well. Chest, chest, chest. Long Fei exhaled rapidly and said a single word in a row. Eorong asked, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Long Fei's face flushed red. "Your chest is pressing down on me." As if two water bombs, this crushed Long Fei to the point that he couldn't even breathe. Eorong immediately let go, and his face flushed. Long Fei laid on her arm, quietly looking at the blushing Eorong, laughed softly, and said indifferently, "Eorong." Eorong replied softly, Long Fei continued, "Eorong." Eorong looked at Long Fei with a bland smile. She felt warm and sweet in her heart as she asked gently, "What's wrong?" "Nothing. I just want to call you by name." "Eorong." Long Fei said it again. Then his eyes looked towards the weapon that was about to obstruct his line of sight. He said softly, "This name is really good." Eorong was not an idiot. Her cheeks were even redder as she directly pinched the flesh on Long Fei's thigh and twisted it. Long Fei's eyeballs seemed like they were about to pop out. "Pain, pain, pain, pain," Long Fei quickly said. A woman's technique could be said to be inborn. With two of her fingers pinching the air, it was extremely refreshing. Eorong said, "Let's see if you can still be such a hooligan." "Oomph. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I won't play now. I'll play again at night, huh?" Long Fei laughed and said, "You said it before. You can do whatever I want you to." Right now, it was like Long Fei was rolling with the two water bombs. Cough, cough, cough. The human emperor lightly coughed. Long Fei looked up slightly and said, "Hey, you still haven't left?" There were 8 black lines on the human emperor's forehead. Eorong also recovered his expression and said, "It was this lord who saved you." Long Fei replied, "I know, but what has happened? How did you get injured? Aren't you the overlord powerhouse of the universal realm? That powerhouse of God's tribe shouldn't be your match, right?" Long Fei did not remember. He didn't even have that memory in his head. He felt Eorong kiss him, and then a prompt sounded out within his body, and a scorching heat began to radiate from his right arm. He was unable to control it completely, and his consciousness also began to blur. He had no impression of what happened after that. The human emperor looked at Long Fei with slight astonishment and said, "Don't you know what happened just now?" His gaze fell on Eorong, who shook his head slightly, signaling him not to say anything. Long Fei said, "I don't know what happened just now. What about the powerhouse of God's tribe? Where did you go?" The human emperor looked at Long Fei seriously. From Long Fei's eyes, he could tell that Long Fei was not lying. Since he didn't know, there was no need for the human emperor to say anything else. Furthermore, If he knew about this, it would be even worse for him. You were unconscious just now. I killed that presbyter of God's tribe. Brat, you should have thanked me properly. If I hadn't come in time, your little life would have been ruined. With the body of the human emperor, it was quite joyous to laugh. You killed him? Long Fei felt that it was a pity in his heart. If only I had exploded it. However, at this moment, he discovered that there was something extra in the system. A string of items that had just exploded out from the system's interface appeared. There was even a string of experiences which could not be described as numbers. Long Fei's mind tensed up as he read them carefully. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Presbyter of God's Tribe for obtaining 16 billion experience, 6 billion true chi points, and 100 arrogant God energy value points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Swords energy. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Supreme Dragon Knife's energy. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Space Rings energy. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Skill Path energy. All kinds of energies. Many of these were absorbed from Long Fei's body. Sky Sword energy. The energy of the Supreme Dragon Knife. When Long Fei saw all of this, his heart secretly tensed up, and his heart let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, I was able to return, otherwise I would not have forgiven myself. These are energy. However, they cannot transform into the original Sky Sword, as long as they could find new materials to refine. As long as they could infuse this energy, the Sky Sword would still be the Sky Sword. There would be no change. In addition, it could even raise his level. It all depended on the blacksmith's skill and the materials needed to forge the weapon. Long Fei was startled. He looked at the last prompt in the system. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ancient Inheritance, Decaying Power. Holy SH**T. The Ancient Inheritance dropped. So awesome. Haha. Long Fei was a little excited. Today, he finally knew what the power of Ancient Inheritance was, and thought of exploding forth with such power. Too sharp. At the same time, Long Fei's heart tensed up. Presbyter of God's Tribe was really killed by the human emperor? He had caused harm to the Presbyter of God's Tribe before, so if he died, he could definitely reveal everything. However, if it was really killed by the human emperor, then he would definitely pull out the Ancient Inheritance from Powerhouse of God's Tribe's body, and Long Fei would definitely not be able to blast it away. Because any one of these Ancient Inheritances were incomparably powerful, and the human emperor would not let them go. Thinking like this, Long Fei's eyes became cold. He looked at the human emperor, then looked at Eorong and asked, "Did I become delirious just now and become another person?" Long Fei realized, and at that moment, an exceptionally dazzling light flashed in the empty sky. Chapter 2682, Dimensional Destruction Canon. Chapter 2682, Dimensional Destruction Canon, Universal Realm. God's Tribe Palace. Elder Decay has fallen. 2 Golden Armor Bodyguards and 1 Sky Envoy have all fallen. What happened? Someone from the periphery of the plane actually was able to kill someone from our God's Tribe. This is definitely not an ordinary person. Everyone began to discuss. Within the palace, many elders started to talk among themselves, but most of them were calm and didn't seem nervous at all. They only laughed and chatted about it, as if it was an interesting piece of news. A small elder had died. With 3 more descendants of God's Tribe, there was nothing to worry about. The God's Tribe is the ruler of the universal realm. Those great clans that controlled the ancient inheritances that had been born in the ancient plane and had ruled the universal realm for billions of years were unable to even contend against the great clans within the ancient world. As long as the Emperor Xian is here, as long as the God's Tribe were here, they would still trample on the universal realm. At this moment, a white-haired old man slowly flew down from the entrance of the palace. He had the appearance of a Taoist immortal. He said, "Indeed, no one in the lower realms can kill them, but if it's the human emperor, then things would be different." Everyone in the hall looked at the white-haired elder. You said that fatty from the human emperor island? Where is the human emperor going? That useless fatty? Eating like a pig, just him? What do you want? You want to rebel? They were all filled with disdain. It was obvious that they did not place the human emperor in their eyes at all. The pitiful human emperor still thought that he was highly valued by the gods' tribe. The white-haired old man said slightly, "I am not too sure about that, but it should be similar to what we were investigating. The appearance of the Ming clan's chi should be because he is looking for the Ming clan's ancient inheritance, but he did not expect to start a fight. What do we do now? To Human Emperor Island. Ming clan's ancient inheritance? The nether energy that disappeared when Pluto perished? Did you find it? Yeah. Did you find it? Everyone was concerned about this issue. The old man replied, no. Holy sh*t. What a waste of an expression. The white-haired old man looked at the old man on the seat of honor and said, Great elder, I am willing to. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, the old man waved his hand and said, Don't waste your time. Before Emperor Xian went into closed-door training, he said that anyone who resists will die. It doesn't matter if he's the human emperor or the ghost emperor. If he dares to oppose our god's tribe, there will only be one outcome for him. Die. The old man looked up and said, Activate plane destruction cannon. The old man's eyes narrowed. Elder, should we wait? At least we should be able to figure it out. The elder said, What do we need to know? Do you really think they can escape? While they were talking, the voice spread out again. Activate destruction cannon of the highest level. The entire audience was stunned. What? The highest level destruction cannon. One had to know that the plain destruction cannon of a shrine was one that merged the power of the ancient inheritance, a super artifact, with the power of destruction. If he used the highest level, it would mean using the power of ancient inheritance. Then this plane, in an instant, he would be reduced to smithereens. The elder said indifferently, Do we still need to know what's going on? Who cares who he is, be it the human emperor or the dog emperor? All of the inherited powers of the Ming clan will be destroyed in one shot. Once they die, all of their inherited powers will return to the ancient world. At that time, the ancient inheritance will still be ours. What's there to worry about? Annihilation plane. A single plane was equal to a single world. Billions of lives. But, in their hearts, it was as if these life forms did not exist. As long as they wished, they could wipe out the lower planes of the lower realms. This was reality. This is a world where the powerhouse is respected. If you are weak, there are many times where you don't even know how you died. The hall went silent for a moment. Then everyone shouted, Elder Ming. Actually, he did not want Emperor Xian to know that Emperor Xian's time was precious. Not a single second could be wasted. Moreover, if he alarmed the Emperor Xian with such a small matter, it would make him unhappy. Just like those elders 100 years ago, they were all locked up. In this kind of place, no matter how strong you were, a destruction cannon would always attack. Nothing. At this time, a voice came from the distance. Destruction cannon is ready. The elder sitting in the seat of honor said lightly, Boom. Huh. The huge cannon was like a mountain as it fired towards the ground. Buzz. A ray of fire shot up into the sky, and an incomparably thick destructive power surged out. The world shook violently. Universal realm shook. Destruction cannon? I wonder which plane will suffer. The level of the destruction cannon this time is not low. Which plane are they going to kill? Ha ha! The lower planes are truly pitiful. The plane world is the same as a martial artist world. If you're weak, then you'll be stepped on beneath your feet and will never be able to stand up again. Countless planes seemed to tremble. The strong light was blinding all over universal boundary. Countless powerhouse stared in the direction of the teleportation of the power of annihilation. Jinwu continent. The moment he saw that beam of light, the human emperor's eyes narrowed. God's tribe destruction cannon. This God's tribe. 2F** King Ruthless. The human emperor said fiercely, and then grabbed both Long Fei's hand and Yi Yorong's hand, and said, I will bring you guys out of this place. He didn't even think about it. Catching Long Fei, they were about to fly out of the Zhenwu continent. Based on his cultivation, bringing out two martial artists from the lower realms that didn't have flying into the virtual wasn't too hard. However, but Long Fei did not move. Yurong was the same. Long Fei asked, "What is a destruction cannon?" The human emperor said, "It means the cannon that destroys the entire plane." Long Fei said as his gaze tightened, "A plane, billions and tens of billions of lives can be destroyed just like that? Who gave him the right? This was cruelty? This was what you'd call an inhumane piece of sh*t. The human emperor laughed bitterly. "They are strong, and they have the power. The god tribe is high above them, and has controlled the universal realm for millions of years. No one can challenge them, and no one can be their match." Originally, the human emperor swallowed his words. Long Fei said, "So you can kill innocent people just because you're strong? Then I will definitely kill them all." The human emperor said, "Don't say any more. Let's hurry up and leave. If we don't leave now, it'll be too late." The destruction cannon was too fast. Moreover, the human emperor felt that the power of this destruction cannon was extraordinary. Long Fei looked at Yurong and then said, "Go first. I still have brothers and friends. I cannot leave them behind." And then Long Fei pulled Yurong and immediately flew towards Magic Mountain. The human emperor's expression sank. "Have you gone mad? No way. No matter what, I can't let him die. I missed it once. This time, I will definitely succeed in extradition." The plane destruction cannon had activated it, causing the entire world to tremble. The plane destruction cannon had activated it, causing the entire world to tremble. A fiery light shot out from the sky. The destructive power caused countless people to tremble in fear. When this power brushed past their plane, their hearts relaxed as if they had received an amnesty. He was secretly delighted, but he also laughed mockingly. "I wonder who is so unlucky that the entire plane is going to die out." A plane, one world, billions or even tens of billions of lives would be instantly exterminated. However, there were not many people in the universal boundary who were angry at this kind of massacre. Instead, they were ridiculing it. Offended the god's tribe? You're courting death. This person is the sinner of all ages. If you're to be buried by himself in a plane of existence, he probably won't be able to do it anymore in his next life. Next life? Does he still have a next life? Haha. In the plane that the destruction cannon have attacked, the person on top of it would even turn their soul and primordial spirit into dust. In the next life, forget about humans. Even ghosts would not be able to do it. It's all his fault. The god's tribe dared to offend him. In the universal realm, the god's tribe is the sky, which means the gods. Offending the god's tribe is the same as offending the heavens. They even dare to offend the heavens. I don't know who overestimated themselves. Countless planes began to discuss this. They wanted to be even more serious in their discussion of the guillotine turmoil 100 years ago. Not many people knew that the guillotine was in chaos and their 10th heaven was almost broken through. The powerhouse who were traveling through many planes of space saw it as well. It could be said, this was a matter that shook the universal boundary. Boom, 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 tens of thousands of kilometers in a second. The flames soared into the heavens, and the power of annihilation was incomparably dense. Magic Mountain. Long Fei rushed back, and looking at the light above his head, which was getting bigger and brighter, his heart tightened, destroying the entire plane of existence. You sure are King ruthless, huh? Wait, I will definitely let you experience the taste of destruction as well. Then, Long Fei quickly asked, how is the demonic sect below Magic Mountain? Lucien replied, we can't open it. That devil door seems to have some sort of seal on it. It simply can't be opened. Seal. Long Fei frowned. Can't break it. Transformer scratched his head. Boss, I've already used all of my strength. I'm not moving at all. The Transformers' power was extremely ferocious. 3 heads and 6 arms. The full force of King Kong powerful fist. Not to mention a door, even a mountain would be destroyed, but this devil door did not even budge an inch. From this, it could be seen that it wasn't something that could be broken by ordinary strength. At this moment, Tang Renjia quickly ran in from outside the hall and anxiously asked, "Boss, what's the situation? The golden flame in the sky is coming for us? And I smell it. This golden flame is full of destructive properties." As he spoke, he noticed a giant fatty in the hall. He didn't know why. Tang Renjia felt an inexplicable sense of joy from the fatty. He looked at him and asked, "Who is this fatty?" When Tang Renjia was looking at the human emperor was also looking at him. Tang Renjia nodded and said, "What's wrong?" Thin Monkey interrupted. "He belongs to the dog class. He smells everything with his nose, but Tang Renjia, are you sure that golden light is coming for us? Was it the destruction attribute? What do you want to do? Unless they want to destroy our Zhanwu continent?" As soon as he finished, the hall suddenly became silent. Everyone looked at Thin Monkey, and then everyone turned to look at Long Fei. Only the human emperor's eyes lit up. He stared straight at Tang Renjia, smiling sinisterly. Tang Renjia. Tang Renjia. Ha! Tang Renjia. He did not expect this to happen. He really did not expect to meet Tang Renjia here. He knew that the last time Long Fei was extradited was a calamity for him. As for the consequences, as a master, he didn't know either. To think that his disciple would be reborn and not even his name would be changed. There was still no change to the inheritance power of Tang Renjia. Smell. Inheritance of sensing power. Extremely strong. Tang Renjia stared at the human emperor's smiling expression. He retreated a few steps and maintained a safe distance, then said, "Stupid fatty, I am not gay. Even if I am gay, look at your figure. I can't wear it either." The human emperor looked at him with a smile, but didn't say anything. Long Fei let out a light breath and said, "Thin Monkey is right. The golden flame above our heads is the destruction cannon that God's tribe has shot out. God's tribe wants to exterminate the entire Zhanwu continent." Everyone's eyes turned cold. Many people staggered, almost losing their footing. It wasn't easy to defeat the presbyter of God's tribe, which gave them a chance to catch their breath, and it also gave the Zhanwu continent a chance to catch their breath. But now, they had to directly fire their cannons at the destruction plane. This caused their already worried hearts to sink to the bottom. One of them bellowed, "God's tribe, F*CK, your ancestors. Damn it, he's not human at all. God's tribe is just a bunch of bastards. You son of a B*TCH. On what basis? Why? Do you really think that just because he's a God's tribe, he can do whatever he wants? Is our life not our life?" Some people went crazy and some people cursed. Towards this unfair treatment, they could only curse a few times. They could kill all the destruction cannon released by the God's tribe in the entire plane. There was nothing they could do. He could only endure. Just like how a human giant wanted to burst his chrysanthemum, a small finger was able to press you to the ground, making you unable to move. All you could do was endure. No matter how painful, no matter how much he hated her, he could only endure. There was nothing to be done. This was the weak. This was fate. Eleusian looked at Long Fei and asked, "Then what do we do now?" Long Fei said, "The only way now is to open the entrance." Eleusian said, "That door can't be open at all. We tried all sorts of methods, but just can't, I guess. It's a dead door." He didn't make it clear. The meaning behind his words was, the other side of the devil's sect might have blocked the door. The human emperor lightly reminded him, "Long Fei, you still have 6 minutes. The destruction cannon will arrive soon, and a landing point is right at Zhanwu continent. You can choose now. I can take 2 people with me. Follow me. Stay here and wait for death. You can't avoid it. God's tribe would do anything to let a plane destroy them. No one can avoid it. Come with me," the human emperor said again. Long Fei did not hesitate to reply. "God's tribe is heartless, but I can't not be righteous. There are hundreds of millions of people in Magic Mountain right now, so I can't abandon them. Take me to the devil's sect." Long Fei was not a saint. Long Fei was not a saint. He never thought of himself as a good person either. However, at this moment, he knew that there were some things that he had to do. He left. What about his brother? Watching them die? What about women? Watching them die? What about friends? What about the hopes that the hundreds of millions of people in Zhenwu continent had for him? Leaving just like that. Long Fei couldn't do it. Even if he died, he would not choose to leave with the human emperor, and making this choice would mean that he was not Long Fei. The human emperor's gaze tensed up. Tang Renjie said, "Damn fatty, who are you? Let me tell you, if you have the guts, then you have to take away hundreds of millions of people. If you can't, then don't talk rubbish. We are human. We are not cold-blooded animals." Humph! With a wave of his sleeve, he quickly followed Long Fei out. The big-sized man, thin monkey, and transformers also quickly followed him out. Only Yurong remained in the palace. Yurong walked in front of the human emperor and said, "Can I ask you a favor?" The human emperor said, "Tell me." Yurong said, "If the Devil Gate cannot be opened, can you take Long Fei away?" No matter what, Yurong did not want Long Fei to die here. He knew that Long Fei did not belong to the Zhenwu continent. She also knew that Long Fei was someone who did great things and could not stop there. If all of the energy in Long Fei's body were to be controlled by himself, then he would cause the entire universal world to subvert their plans. It didn't matter if she died. It didn't matter even if the people from Zhenwu continent died. Only Long Fei could not die. The human emperor looked at Yurong and nodded. "I promise you." Even if Yurong didn't say this, he would have done the same. His purpose for coming here was to extradite Long Fei and would not let him die again. At this time, the human emperor was also speaking to himself in his heart. "Tang Renjie, perhaps your calamity is not over yet, so I can only apologize." At the final moment, it would be very difficult for the human emperor to bring the two of them away. Long Fei was number one. Inside the magic mountain cave, Long Fei looked at the two gigantic doors that pierced through the void of darkness. Engraved on the huge door was the magic tribe divinity. "Vicious, I'm afraid the demon gate is emitting a dense demonic aura," Chief Captain said. "Right here. We've tried everything, but this door doesn't have any reaction." Long Fei walked forward and looked at the devil door with a sinister expression in his eyes, just in time to see the eyes of the devil door's giant god. His pupils shrank as he shouted in a deep voice, "Are you really going to stop me? Demon God, if you stop me now, you'll want me to die. But do you know the consequences of my not dying?" Long Fei's tone was very calm. Everyone looked at Long Fei strangely. Who is he talking to? The Devil's Gate did not respond, nor did it emit any sounds. Long Fei said, "Demon God, you actually chose me. Then you should be clear about my identity and temperament. If you were to set me up, as long as I don't die, you should know the outcome." His tone was calm. However, the calmness was laced with a myriad of killing intents. "If you don't open the door, as long as I am alive, I will settle this debt with you." And then, Long Fei walked up, the idea moved, and placed one hand on the devil door. The blood-colored scales on his right arm suddenly exploded, and with a deep voice, he shouted, "Open!" Buzz! The devil's sect didn't respond. It didn't move at all. At this time, Tang Renjie reminded him in a low voice, "Boss, there's still 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 180 seconds. If they were unable to open the gates of evil, they would die." The human emperor frowned and sent a sound transmission to Long Fei. "There's still time. I can save 2 of you. Follow me, otherwise you will really die here." Long Fei did not speak. Instead, he lowered his voice and said in a heavy tone, "I'm really not very happy right now." 3 minutes. Time was too short. Long Fei looked calm on the surface, but he was actually very anxious in his heart. Don't force this daddy to get angry. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Suddenly, the entire magic mountain started to shake. The entire Zhenwu continent began to tremble. The human emperor's forehead shrank as he said, "We can't do it anymore. We have to increase our speed. The destructive energy cannon is about to strike." And then, the human emperor didn't care about all that and directly pulled Long Fei's hand and said, "Come with me." He was afraid that Long Fei would resist, so all of the human emperor's qi that was on his body exploded out explosively and immediately crushed Long Fei. No matter what, he could not let Long Fei die this time. He promised Long Zhanting he would definitely save his son. The last time he failed, he blamed himself in his heart. This time, he would never make the same mistake again. Yirong also anxiously said, "Long Fei, follow him." Many of the brothers also said, "Boss, follow him. It doesn't matter if we die, as long as you take revenge for us. We must destroy the chrysanthemums of the gods' tribe dogs." Ha! Everyone laughed out loud. All of them looked at Long Fei with burning gazes. They knew in their hearts that they wouldn't be able to fight against the current Long Fei without him. He would never forget it. "Boss, let's go. Boss, our life is worth it." Yeah. Seeing them one by one, Long Fei's heart tightened. The human emperor said solemnly, "It's too late. The destructive energy this time is much stronger than I expected. It seems like the gods' tribe will not give you any chances this time. Hurry up." The human emperor couldn't help but become nervous. Moreover, he began to worry that the destructive energy would be at its highest level, because if that happened, even he wouldn't have the chance to escape. The human emperor's fire's ancient inheritance was ranked more than 100. However, the fusion of the gods, tribe's destruction god canon, would place him in the top 100 the moment the highest level of destructive power appeared. His retreat path would be completely sealed. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to escape. Long Fei did not move. The human emperor tugged and said, "Long Fei, follow me." At this moment, Long Fei suddenly turned. His eyes stared straight at the human emperor and shouted, "Get out of the way." His eyes were bloodshot. The aura emanating from his body underwent a drastic change. At this moment, even the human emperor's heart couldn't help but tremble. It was just like how Long Fei had become another Long Fei. The human emperor couldn't help but loosen his grip. Then, Long Fei's eyes were incomparably gloomy as he stared at the devil door, and spoke with extreme gloominess. "Don't King be shameless. If you make this daddy angry, this daddy will turn your devil world into a ghost realm." Finished. Long Fei's aura moved. At this moment, the two giant devil doors began to creak as they moved. It opened. It opened. The demonic door opened. Everyone was ecstatic. However, Long Fei's face was filled with unhappiness, and he shouted again, "Hurry up." Boom! The two demonic gates instantly opened. Everyone was ecstatic. The entrance to the demon realm opened, but Long Fei did not walk toward it. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.